disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing.
Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad, that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we have a fantastic one for you, as we're going to be looking into the heavyweight division. We've done this type of episode before where we look at the dossiers, the dockets, the record, the the lowdown of every fighter out there in the top 10 according to Ring Magazine's ratings. And so we're going to present that to you because there's been a lot of talk about whether this heavyweight division really is as good as people make it out to be and whether Usyk really does deserve the accolades that he's been getting. So we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to give you the rankings here and try to figure out who's who. And at the end of each fighter's presentation, we're going to ask you fellas out there in the chat to give each fighter a ranking, or rating rather, between 1 and 5. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. Of course, it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. You can also join the Patreon page for free or for as little as $2 per month. Every little bit helps. Bucha just posted 2 videos about what else, the big fight coming up, Canelo versus Crawford. And a couple of us were watching on the Discord. We were rewatching certain Crawford fights and certain Canelo fights, trying to get to the bottom of the thing. And those fights, by the way, or those reviews that we did are free. So make sure to scamper on over to our Patreon page and sign up. Sign up for free. You can sign up for free. Well, like I keep saying, the most important thing is you continue to like, subscribe, you spread that BDA gospel. And speaking of the devotees out there, shout out to Timothy Figueroa, official scorecard boxing. Shout out to him. 08021 N5C, all right, whatever. Impala, shout out to Impala. Oh, wait a minute, why? Okay, no, I was going to say that every name had a number now, but I guess that's just a peculiar thing. Hard Recoil, Team Batman Boxing, King Bucho in there as well, keeping an eye on things. There's a guy named I'm Useless 88. All right, so we got a whole bunch of interesting names right there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Timothy Figueroa is in there as well. Sergeant. You know what I think it is? I think I'm for some reason the chat is displaying people's email, or not the email, because usually when you go to someone's YouTube account, you see the name that the username that they chose, and then the name that YouTube assigns for other purposes. I don't know. So I think that's the one. The latter is the one that I'm seeing here. So anyway, before we get down to the fun, fellas, I want to address some of the things that are going to be going on this Saturday. We got a card coming up. And Hold on a second. Where is it? Yeah, so we got a card coming up here. Moses Aitama taking on Dillian White. That's going to be a good, interesting fight. There's a lot of hype around Aitama. People want to see what he can do against a veteran, albeit a veteran who probably, well, no, actually, way past it, but might still have enough, you never know, to either trouble young Aitama or perhaps even, you never know, pull off an upset. Stranger things have happened in boxing. We've seen that in recent years. How old is Dillian White, by the way? Hold on a second. This is germane to the conversation and today's subject because this is a heavyweight fighter in Aitama, and they're already comparing him to Mike Tyson. That seems to be the bar that they're setting, and also the association. You know, like, hey, this guy is young. He's one of the young. He's probably the youngest prospect, heavyweight prospect that we've seen in the last couple of years. Maybe Dubois being the exception. Yeah, Dillian White is 37, but remember, these heavyweights tend to last longer by virtue of the fact that they retain their punching power. Aitama, on the other hand, is, how old is this fella? 20 years old. Pfft. He's barely coming to his man strength, if he has at all already. So it's going to be an interesting fight, that's for sure. Not many are giving Dillian White a chance, but at least we can see if Aitama wipes the floor with him, gives us an indication of where Aitama ranks in this heavyweight division. Also on that card, featherweight action between Nick Ball and the undefeated Sam Goodman, two undefeated fighters. Nick Ball really lives up to his last name. Very apropos, because this dude is a ball of fury and power and explosiveness. Diminutive in height, but he makes up for it with tenacity, underrated speed, and power. And Sam Goodman, another, the name could work his way into this fight too, because he's trying to make good on his promise of scoring a big win. He had two chances against Naoya Inoue that went by the wayside because Goodman was injured twice injured during training, thus postponing and ultimately canceling his fight against Inoue. So now he moves up to featherweight to take on Nick Ball. Could prove to be a tricky fight for Ball because Goodman, yeah, he doesn't hit as hard as Ball, but I would venture to say he's almost as quick as Ball. He's also a good mover. And based on most of the fights that I saw from Goodman in the build-up to the Inoue fight, he's a good, solid boxer. So if he puts on and a good performance and follows a tight game plan, easier said than done, I know, but he could possibly make it interesting here, maybe even pull it off. Nick Ball, again, he's very explosive, but if somebody can keep him turning, you never know. Maybe two judges give the decision to Goodman. Very interesting fight. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most this Saturday. You also got Filip Hrgovic taking on David Adelaide. It's going to be an interesting one right there. And Raymond Ford taking on Abraham Nova, or as I call him, Supernova. Abraham Nova has losses to Robeisy Ramirez, Oshaki Foster, and a Hispanic guy. I forget the guy's name. Alex something, I think. But other than, most people remember Nova for two things. That blonde beard, bleached blonde beard that he possesses, and of course getting blitzed by Robeisy Ramirez a couple of years ago. But he's a good, solid boxer too. It's a shame that they couldn't get Raymond Ford, anybody in the top 10 at super featherweight. I don't think Supernova is in the top 10 rankings. Hold on, let me just double check here. All right, wait a minute. By the way, someone's saying Nick Ball's lost a fight. I don't think so. Maybe a draw? Didn't he get a draw against Vargas? One of the most boring fighters out there. Hold on a sec. I'm looking to check here real quick. Just want to make sure to see if Supernova. No, I don't see Supernova in the top 10 rankings. There was some talk and some jawing back and forth between Foster and Raymond Ford on Twitter, I believe, a couple of months ago, but they couldn't make that fight. So it's not the worst fight in the world, but it's something that, it's something to keep us occupied, and we'll see if Nova can give Ford a good fight. So that's what we got there. Interestingly enough, Raymond Ford his only loss came against Nick Ball. Maybe they're itching for a rematch by putting them both on the same card, especially considering that they're both with different promoters. Ford is with Matchroom and Nick Ball is with Queensberry, Frank Warren's promotional outfit. And I like watching Raymond Ford fight. He's not a back foot bitch. He's not an ass fighter. I particularly like when he digs to the body. And he gave Nick Ball a very tough fight. I thought Nick Ball edged it because of his work in the middle rounds. But Raymond Ford was digging to the body. And I suspect that might have played a part in Nick Ball slowing down in that last round. Or maybe he just slows down because he was fighting at a high pace and it was a professional fight. I don't know, but all right. That's what I've got there. It's an interesting fight. And it's an interesting fight on a semi-good card. Unfortunately, a lot of people are complaining. That's true, that it's a pay-per-view. And it should not be a pay-per-view. And this comes on the heels of Turki Al-Sheikh saying that most of the mega cards that he's going to be putting on are not going to be pay-per-view. Then you got the Paramount UFC deal where the UFC is going to be bypassing the pay-per-view model. And if you get a Paramount subscription, you can catch their big events. And now that comes again on the heels of this fight, which is pay-per-view, and it shouldn't be pay-per-view. It's almost like if you go to this feast, you got a nice spread, an assortment of delectables, your favorite foods. Imagine your favorite foods, turkey, pork chops, whatever, and you're licking your lips, chomping at the bit at trying to get at some of this food, and all of a sudden this big fat guy comes along and lays a fart that drives out everybody out of the room. That's the same thing here, or something very similar. Maybe I just wanted to go with a fart analogy. I don't know. I don't know what I wanted to do, but it's quite apropos. Anyway, whatever. I was going to say something about lingering smells, but that's not the time or place. Now, what I wanted to say was that to regular viewers, regular panelists, I'm going to be in our usual room. So if you guys want to jump on and do this heavyweight ranking thing, make sure to do that. Hold on a second. Taking a sip of my beverage. Very refreshing, very refreshing. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. Official Scorecard Boxing says White seems to be in the physical shape of his life. Really? See, I haven't really been following this too much. So I don't know what type of shape he's at or in. But if he's in good, solid shape, then at least that figures to bode well for him in giving Moses Saitama a couple of good rounds. Maybe he can do more. You never know, man. I mean, listen, Dylan White, the thing, I understand why nobody's giving him a chance, or maybe not nobody, but very, very few people, because Aitama is faster, he can crack, he's fresher, and Dylan White has been susceptible to knockout defeats, particularly against uppercuts. Anthony Joshua damn near killed him with an uppercut. Oscar Rivas, I believe, dropped him with a right uppercut as well. Same thing with Povetkin, although that was a left uppercut, I believe. So, and Tyson Fury also stopped him with an uppercut. So it just seems like this dude can't get out of the way of uppercuts. But I did watch Dylan White's last fight against Ebenezer Tete. I'm not kidding. That's the guy's name, Ebenezer Tete. Was that the guy's name? Hold on a second. Let me just double check here. Ebenezer Tete out of Ghana. This big, giant African dude. Heavy-handed. And he gave Dylan White some scary moments in there, but Dylan White ended up making him quit. So Dylan White still has a little something there. But will it be enough to topple a younger, fresher, faster, hard-hitting opponent? See, I don't understand. That's double L, but how come the names aren't popping up like they usually are? Or like they usually do? These are other indicators here. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I think that's double L. He says, BDA likes African food. DJ Bigles says, I thought Paul lost to tall Mexican. I might be mixing them up. Yeah, you're talking about Ray Vargas. He didn't lose to Ray Vargas. That was a draw. And if I remember correctly, I think Nick Ball should have won that one. Official says, I just saw one or two picks. White has slimmed down a lot and has a six-pack. Well, I mean, we've been through that one before, right? I mean, Chris Bird, when he went down in weight back in, I want to say 2008.
But who gay ass just said that?
About the abs?
Yeah.
That was Official Scorecard Boxing.
Come on, bro.
Come on, bro. Hey, what about you and Vessel? Are you still going at it, or is that over with?
There's nothing, bro. I don't know why everybody was like saying, "Oh, what's going on?" Plenty of people talk shit to me. I talk shit back. It goes as long as they can hang. Some people can hang longer than others, but
I don't like the racist undertones. I don't like the racist undertones of what you're saying. Some people can hang from different trees. Like, come on, what are you doing, Source? It's supposed to be a nice show here. You're making it racial.
have you seen Dylan White's abs?
You're making it racial right off the bat. No, but you know what? Yeah, listen, Sobers. There's a lot of people that go at him He lets it slide. There's somebody in your Discord named Never Shoulders. So every time
Exactly.
so every time that person pops up, you got to look at his, from Sober's perspective, he's got to look at that. He doesn't give a shit. So, like Pigeon keeps saying over and over, the internet, just a little bit of fun. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And if you think you're going to get me mad, bro, it's not going to happen.
Listen to that diabolical laugh. Hey, by the way, if you guys enjoyed the second Renaissances, we did one about 2 days ago. We were just reading the news, and then eventually we just started watching rodeo videos. Rodeo videos from Mexico, United States, and Brazil. Man, the Brazilian dudes. Maybe they don't show you in the Mexican compilations and the American compilations, but the Brazilian guys were getting knocked out cold. Absolutely, they were laid out stiff, arms up in the air. Really scary. You got to be a nut job. I'd rather box any day of the week than to ever try an attempt to do that. Never, never, never. All right. So today's episode, like I said, is we're going to be ranking the heavyweight division. We're going to go by the Ring Magazine rankings. And what we're going to do is we're just going to offer up the dossier. We're going to give you the record, the resume. And at the end of it, you guys are going to tell us from 1 to 5 where you rate these fighters. And I'll give you one right now. All right, so there you go. That's that. Oh, it's from 0 to 10. I thought it was 0 to 5. Haven't used it in a while. This is the 0 to 10 boxing rating scale. This was decided by a team of experts at the BDA Research and Development Lab in association, in conjunction with the BDA Board of Directors and the panelists, of course. So what we got here is from 0 to 3, that's reserved for tomato cans. 3 is actually a designation for in-shape tomato cans. These are the tomato cans that actually show up in shape and actually give it a good go before ultimately losing. Excuse me, 4 to 5, that's for journeymen and gatekeepers. Usually these guys are a little bit above the level of a tomato can, but they have been known to pull offsets. So that's why we give them 4 to 5. 6 to 7, that's for contenders, low-level contenders, high-level contenders. The number 8 ranking, that's for low-level pound-for-pounders, or guys that are gravitating around the pound-for-pound top 10 list, but just haven't been able to make it. These guys are very, very good, and oftentimes in the top 3 of their divisions. And 9 to 10, that's elite. We're talking top 5 pound-for-pounders. These are the guys that have long records, undefeated records rather, or long winning streaks. They dominate. They put on good performances, dominating performances, usually fun performances. So that's what we got there. So keep that in mind as we go through the heavyweight division. And we'll try to see if we can open up the phone lines at the same time later on. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to look at this heavyweight division. And we're going to start with the number 10 guy according to Ring Magazine. Hold on a second. There we go. So the first guy in our list is Efe Ajagba. He's 31 years old. He's got a record of 20 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, and 14 knockouts. That draw came against Martin Bakole, and the 1 loss came against Frank Sanchez, the Cuban heavyweight. He's 6 feet 5 inches tall with an 85-inch reach, and he's rated number 10 at heavyweight, as I mentioned earlier. Now, interesting thing about Ajagba, he's got a couple of decent wins. Jonathan Rice, who managed to pull off a couple of upsets, Rice, back in, actually a couple of years ago. He beat a guy by the name of Coffee, I believe, who was an undefeated heavyweight. And he also defeated Guido Vianello. I believe Jonathan Rice is the guy that gave Vianello his first loss. So Ajagba defeated Jonathan Rice by decision. He also decisioned Stephen Shaw and the aforementioned Guido Vianello. So as you can see, it's a thin resume. And Sobers, you look at these names. This has been enough for Ajagba to make it into the top 10 rankings, according to Ring Magazine, in the heavyweight division. Is this a testament to how bad the heavyweight division is right now? Well, what do you think? Because that was a big point of discussion a couple of weeks ago.
Who the hell was Jonathan Rice?
He's a chubby Afro-Anglo guy, quite quick, quite
I think I've seen. Did Stephen Shaw get knocked out? Is that the guy who fought Deontay Wilder recently?
No. Stephen Shaw I think he got upset against some Australian guy.
Um,
But I believe he
Guido,
was
that's the one who just fought the Mexican American dude.
Not yeah.
What's his name?
Wait. Who's what now? Who's the what now?
Guido just fought that Mexican American dude.
Yes, Torres.
Yeah, Dicky Torres.
So yeah, this is enough apparently to get you in the top 10 rankings over at Ring Magazine. And by the way, before we start, I should have said this. I should have prefaced this that I didn't get a chance to get to Moses Aitama, but he's going to be fighting this Saturday, so that should let us know where he ranks, or if at all, in this heavyweight landscape. So that's an honorable mention for Moses Aitama. We also have not Jose Torres. What's his last name? Or first name? Anyway, Torres. Richard Torres. Thank you. Yeah, Richard Torres. Honorable mention to him as well. Aggressive heavyweight southpaw, and honorable mention to Jalalov, who also is not included in the top 10 rankings. But you never know. Gold medalist, deep amateur dossier, could end up making something happen. So we'll see what's up with that. Now, as it pertains to Ajagba, the worst moment of his career so far was getting dropped and outboxed by Frank Sanchez. This was back in 2021. If I remember correctly, it was on the undercard of Wilder Fury 3. So yeah, he looked inept in that one. He was swinging, he was going for it, but just couldn't catch Frank Sanchez, couldn't do anything with him. So that remains, to this point, his worst moment. His attributes, he's got deceptive quickness. He's very lean. He looks a little bit like Deontay Wilder, but more muscular, but also leaner than another fighter of Nigerian origin, which is Anthony Joshua. Actually, Ajagba comes straight from Nigeria. So, whereas Joshua is an expat or whatever you call him, or he was born in England, whatever. So, Ajagba,
he's an export.
He's an export. Yeah, exactly. So Ajagba has deceptive quickness, and yet, despite his deceptive quickness, he is heavy-handed. When he fights lower-level guys, he can lay them out cold. So that's something that Ajagba has going for him. And he's got quite a good offensive arsenal. He can crack with the right hand, with the left hook, and you can just see the velocity of his shots whenever he misses. When those punches whoosh by an opponent, you go, whoa, better watch out, because if he catches you with one of those, could be trouble. As for his flaws, he's got limited head movement. And if you rewatch the Vianello fight, you shall see that Vianello was really lining him up for some lead right hands. And even Frank Sanchez and Stephen Shaw were able to land a lot of jabs on Ajagba, but just doesn't move that head a lot. And on top of that, he doesn't really have that good a guard or a parrying game, so that just compounds the issue even more. He also lacks. There's an amount of pressure lacking in his game. It's almost like, against Frank Sanchez, okay, I know Frank Sanchez can move very well, but even against a guy like Stephen Shaw, it's almost like there's no urgency. I should have written that instead. Lack of urgency from Ajagba, and also an inability to really close the distance quickly once he cuts the ring off. And that's what I want to say. Yeah, that's the last point I put there. Hesitant. He's a little bit hesitant. And that doesn't bode well. Yes.
So can I add, he seems very stiff too, to go along with that limited head. Beside, by the way, my ex-girlfriend also had that flaw as well, limited head.
I was going to say the same. I was going to make a similar joke.
Efe Ajagba, he's very stiff. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Joshua a little bit, but even more robotic and stiff. I guess that goes with the hesitant, trait, but he just seems very stiff and robotic.
That's a great observation. And it's interesting you compared him to Joshua, because when Ajagba was coming up on the PBC, he was knocking people left and right, knocked them out left and right. And there was a lot of hype around him, saying whoa, what's this guy going to be able to do? What can he pull off? And when he stepped up against Frank Sanchez, we saw his limitations. And now that he's over at Top Rank, those limitations are quite apparent. And so Anthony Joshua, got to give him his dues. And in his prime, he was a better technician than Ajagba is right now. And I give Ajagba credit, him and Ronnie Shields, they've been working on some things. They've really worked out some kinks, and they've improved some of his attacks and some of his offense, but he's still very limited. And so these are some of the points that we're illustrating here. His ace in the hole, meaning his special weapon or the thing that might distinguish him from other heavyweights, right hand. That big right hand, he could be in trouble. It's not quite as lethal and nowhere near as fast as, say, Deontay Wilder, but it's up there. It's a heavy right hand, and if all else fails, he can always bail himself out with that right hand. So that's something that I would say that's his best weapon. And the perfect fight, meaning a fight that's winnable for him and that would actually increase his profile, to me, that's a Filip Hrgovic fight. Because, as we saw earlier, Ajagba's resume is quite thin. And Hrgovic, as we're going to see later on, there's a little something lacking there mentally. I'm not saying he's a retard, but what I'm saying is in terms of, some people would argue that he lacks that dog, as people like to say. He lacks, I don't know, so, he lacks that X factor, as Teddy the Atlas loves to say about Crawford. He's got those intangibles, that X factor. It's like, all right, what is he, a mutant or something? But, so that's what we get with Ajagba right there. And now we come to the point where we have to give him a rating. So it's going to be up to you fellas to give him a ranking, or rating rather. And I just realized I think I erased the ranking system here. I used to have a couple of numbers. I'm going to have to add... Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, where's my... Yeah, we're gonna add a ranking here, right, fellas? So it's between... Let me just put it up here right away. 0 to 3, that's for tomato cans. 4 to 5, that's for journeymen and gatekeepers. 6 to 7 for contenders, low and high level. Number 8 is for lower rung pound for pounders, and number 9 to 10, that's for elite guys. Okay, so let us know what ranking you would give him. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have to rewrite the number there. Where is that number, by the way? All right, I'm gonna have to add something here. Meanwhile, don't forget.
So, we're gonna get your rating.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it from the people first. Or if you want to give yours first, by the way, too, we can always do
I
that.
don't care about what the people have to say.
Come on, man.
I'm just playing.
You're acting like
I'd say
pleb
Go
patrician. You're acting like patrician sobers, elite sobers, Illuminati sobers. That's what we're gonna call you.
we doth not careth what the unwashed plebeians say.
Oh,
But I guess dude, he's like a 5 or 6. He's not really
whoa, that low, huh?
well, maybe you could say he's a journeyman, a contender journeyman, right? But I want to. That's what. Show me the thing again. The
rating
little
scale. The rating scale. There we go.
Yes, I'll say 7.
Okay, wait, that's actually very generous. Yeah, I would go. If we could do fractals or whatever, 6.5, I would go for that.
Well, you make the rules, BDA, and then you say, well, if I could break them, I would do this.
I actually didn't make the rules. That, like I said, the BD board of directors, the research and development lab, and some of the panelists, they're the ones that came up with this.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah. You do need to apologize. All right, let me see what the people are saying in the chat here. Krispy Kreme says 4 to 5 max. Whoa. Sergeant says 6. Double L says if he were John Smith instead of Efe Ajagba, sobers would give him a 10. Oh. Casting aspersions are your judgment right there, sobers. Not good. Not good. So, okay, so most people are saying 6, 5. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with a 6. Does that work for you, sobers? Listen, it works for me. That's what we're going to go for here. So, Efe Ajagba gets a number 6 ranking. A rating, rather, not a ranking, a rating. So he's number 6. He's a, what was it again? Like a high, low-level contender. That's what he is. Let me just take a screenshot of this for the archives. There we go. I'm saving it on my computer. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. It really helps us out. Man, this is taking a long time to save. What the hell? I shouldn't curse so much, by the way. There we go. All right. Finally got saved. All right. So let's move on now then to our next fighter on the docket here. And that will be number 9. That's Martin Bakole. Martin Bakole from the Congo. One of the Congos. I forget. There's Republic of Congo and there's another one. He's 32 years old with a record of 21 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Again, that draw being to the aforementioned Efe Ajagba. And he's got 16 knockouts. He stands at 6 feet 6 inches tall with an 82-inch reach. And he's rated number 9 in the heavyweight division according to Ring Magazine. Top wins. Tony Yoka, French Olympic gold medalist. Carlos Takam, tough, durable contender, French contender. And the undefeated American, or supposed to be American heavyweight star, Jared Anderson. Martin Bakole stopped him last year. So that's a good dossier. That's a good dossier right there. His worst moment, however, remains running out of steam and being stopped by Michael Hunter. Now, the reason why I didn't include the Joseph Parker loss is because he's got a good reason, or he's got a bit of a failsafe there against Joseph Parker. Because, I mean, come on, they called him up at the last minute. He was out of shape. He had no punch resistance, or very little. So I don't besmirch him for having lost to Joseph Parker. But against Hunter, who's a career cruiserweight essentially, it was a tough fight. Bakole did well, but he just ended up running out of steam and ended up losing that fight. So to this day, still remains his worst moment. What are his attributes? Well, he's heavy-handed. Deceptively heavy-handed. He doesn't even seem to load up on his shots all that much. He just hits guys with a well-placed shot and they react. So he's a big dude. He's like a giant tire, just moving across the ring. And
he's a big Yanta, right?
Oh, come on. No, you're saying it in a different context. I don't like that. But yeah,
we said the same word. We said the same thing, video.
Actually, we didn't. But yeah, so Bakole is a very strong, durable guy. He's got an underrated jab too. Just look at that fight against Jared Anderson. He was flicking that jab and snapping Anderson's head back. So that's a weapon that I think could serve him well as he goes across his career here. And he's also got a very good chin. Again, forget the Joseph Parker fight. I don't really count it all that much. When you're stepping out into the ring, when you were 5 days earlier, you were on your couch watching Seinfeld reruns. I mean, come on. What good a shape was he really in? How good a shape was he in? Now, his flaws, this is where we're getting to a bit of a dilemma now, because my question is he lazy? Because when he ended up fighting Ajagba in his last fight, he had a training camp for that one. And yet he showed fatter than usual, almost as fat as he did against Joseph Parker, where he had no training camp. So you're thinking, okay, well, what was your lack of motivation there? The other thing is this, is he an old man? Because as I mentioned earlier, he's from the Congo. And though the official record lists him as being 32 years old, I don't know if he follows the moon calendar, the lunar calendar or whatever. That's a whole different thing there. So we've seen guys before coming out of Nigeria or other African countries, and they say, oh yeah, I'm 28 years old. Meanwhile, you look at their faces and you go, no, this guy's 45 at the minimum. So it's the same thing with Bakole. He doesn't look as if he's 32. He looks older, a little bit older. So I gotta wonder if maybe that's why his last couple performances have been subpar. Maybe the real age is starting to show. And the stamina too. Again, I don't know if it's because he was out of shape against Ajagba, but he really looked out of breath in that one. He had to really conserve his energy. Oh, listen, maybe that's just a byproduct of him being a big fucker. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall, almost 300 pounds. It's the Zhilei Zhang dilemma, where if you're stepping into the ring at over 270, don't expect to be able to just be moving around and letting your hands go throughout the fight. But that does seem to be a problem for him, and it could cost him against some of these other foes, some of these quicker and more mobile foes. As for his ace in the hole, well, his relaxation. Again, that could also be a problem because he's a little bit too relaxed, but that relaxation allows him to pick shots off, take him when he has to, and he just keeps on coming. Jared Anderson was hitting him with some mean body shots, and this guy was barely reacting. Maybe it's because he was so relaxed that he didn't show any ill effects or any grimaces based off those shots, but I think that's a strength for him in this heavyweight division. The perfect fight, I think, would be an Ajagba rematch, because that was a winnable fight for him right there, and he didn't perform at his best. That's my opinion. So, Sobers, what do you think about Ajagba?
He didn't lose to Ajagba, did he?
No, it was a draw. It was a draw. Controversial.
Oh,
draw.
really?
Yeah. it was a controversial draw because a lot of people felt that Ajagba outworked him and outboxed him. So in a way, Bakole kind of got lucky in that bout.
Huh.
So,
Okay, well,
yeah, how would you rate
I was gonna put
Martin
him.
Bakole?
I was gonna put him like 1 point ahead of Jogba, but I forgot about that fight. So really, I put them on the same level. I feel like Bakole
Interesting.
has a couple better wins,
Uh-huh.
but like you said, Ajagba fought him to a draw. So I'll put them like they're both to 7, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point because I definitely think Bakole has more potential to achieve more in the heavyweight division. But it's just, I think he's a lazy guy. And he wouldn't be the first heavyweight we've seen or come along to who's actually a bit of a, who likes the work ethic. So you said 6 or 7. You said 7. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. Sergeant says 6. Come on, we need more people to give us the rankings. People are staying silent over there. You need to let us know what the ranking would be for Martin Bakole. And okay, let me just remind people what those ratings are. 0 to 3, that's for tomato cans. 4 to 5, that's for journeymen and gatekeepers. 6 to 7 is for low or high level contenders. Number 8, that's for low rung pound for pounders, guys who are hovering around the top 10 pound for pound list. And 9 to 10, that's elite guys. We're talking top 5 pound for pound. So obviously Bakole doesn't figure in the 9 or 10, but
This isn't what you showed earlier, was it?
It's exactly what I showed earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
Sobers, you're trying to drive me. You're trying to drive me
I
crazy.
thought 8 and 9 were something else, bro. All right, maybe I'm tripping, bro.
I think you are. You got that. Yeah, you got the good Yeska. I think that's what it is.
I am smoking, right? But
There you go. Double L says he gives him a 6. The Can Man gives him a 4. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I tell you, every time we do some of these, there's always 1 or 2 people that'll just, it's a tough room sometimes, a tough crowd, and they'll really downgrade certain fighters. Bray says 7. Matador, 2 Matador, shout out to him, says 5. DJ Big Leg says 6. Food TV, that's the real Food TV, shout out to him, says it's 8. Okay, very generous. I Am Kersey says 6. The Can Man says he's a solid 4. He's a solid 4. I mean, I don't know. He's a solid 4 in terms of weight. He weighs 4 stone or whatever it is, whatever stupid metric they use in England. James Kim says Bakole started making some money and he's eating well. He likes the discipline and makes a name telling sparring stories. Yeah, doesn't he go around telling the story about how he dropped Oleksandr Usyk? I think that's what I've heard before. He's like Sobers. He's like one of those dudes from high school that he did well at the big game. He pulled it off at the big game, and 15 years later, he's still at the bar.
The classic, what's his name, Al Bundy?
Was that him? Did he used to do that?
Yeah, Al Bundy. He was like a jock in high school, and he was talking about that one game where he made that one game-winning pass, and he'd be telling the story at a shoe store while he's like fitting somebody's foot, some woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that sounds a lot like Martin Bakole talking to people about the sparring story that may or may have
3 touchdowns in a single game. There you go.
Yeah. And maybe it never happened, though. That's the thing. Maybe that story never happened. Maybe he's making it up. We shall see. All right, let's go back to the rankings here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. The next fighter on the docket, we're moving on to the number 7 position. No, excuse me, number 8. We're still at 8, I believe. And that is Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Zhang. And he's coming to us from the great nation of China. He's 42 years old. This guy, he has to be, I think he is the oldest guy in the top 10 rankings here at heavyweight. He's got a record of 27 wins, 3 losses, 22 knockouts. He stands at 6 feet 6 inches tall with an 80-inch reach. You're going to start seeing that that's almost the average for a lot of these guys, 6 feet and 6 inches tall. So there's a lot of giants in this division. And he ranks number 8, according to Ring Magazine, in the heavyweight division. His top wins include Joy Joyce twice, as well as a stoppage win over Deontay Wilder. I should also mention that he stopped Joy Joyce twice in those wins. So most of his big wins have come via chloroform. The worst moment, though, happening his last fight, and we haven't seen Zhang since, when he was manhandled by Agit Kabayel. He managed to drop Kabayel, showed that power of his is still there, but he got tortured to the body, and he was wincing. This big giant guy, wincing from body shots. I said, "Oof, that Kabayel, man, he's got some mean rib roasters on those gloves of his." So that has to be his worst moment. Because when he lost to Hrgovic, that was a very close fight that a lot of us thought Zhang should have won. But this, I mean, he was made to look very, very, very vulnerable. Whereas a couple of fights earlier, people were saying he was the boogeyman. Now he's just an old Chinese guy. His attributes, well, he's got good timing for a heavyweight, and I think that comes from his amateur acumen. He still has power. He's got some heavy, heavy, heavy hands. He touches guys, they usually go to sleep. And he also has sneaky defense. He knows how to pick shots off, keeps his chin tucked in. Didn't help him at all against Kabayel's body shots, but against everyone else, for such a big guy, he does know how to deflect shots with his hands and his gloves. So that's one of his strengths right there. His flaws, well, again, 42 years old. And on top of that, he's a fat 42-year-old. This dude, when he showed up against Joseph Parker, weighing 290-something pounds, I said, what is this guy thinking? And you could tell it ended up costing him because he couldn't turn on the afterburners whenever he dropped Joseph Parker. He was a lummox in there, a lumbering lummox, could barely move. When people say Canelo has cement feet, this is what they should watch to see a guy who really has cement feet. Zhilei Zhang he's like a giant statue trying to move. It's unreal. Lack of volume too, that's another problem because of his age and because of his considerable weight. The guy's not the most voluminous puncher, and like I said earlier, slow feet, which allowed Joseph Parker to essentially maneuver around the ring and escape with a close decision. And finally, what is his ace in the hole? Well, I just said it. Power. Chinese power. China. Exactly. He's got the tiger claw in that left hand. In the right. In the right one too. He's a very, very heavy-handed guy, like I said, and no matter whom he hits, they are likely to feel the effects. I mean, think about it. Kabayel kept coming at him, and Zhilei Zhang, even though he ended up getting stopped, he still managed to drop Kabayel. So those are some heavy hands. That power is real. To me, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Solvers, I think the perfect fight for him would be a Martin Bakole. Because Bakole, even though, like I said earlier, he does have sneaky defense himself, it's not as good, I don't think, as Zhang's when it comes to picking up shots. As I said before, he's lazy. He fights at an old man's pace, which I think would benefit Zhang. Well, what do you think about that? Would that be the perfect fight for Zhang?
Yeah, I would put Zhang above Bakole and Ajagba. Right, so maybe can you put up the rating thing again?
Absolutely.
So the low rung pound for pound, that's what's throwing me off.
Uh-huh. Well, think about it this way. When I say low rung pound for pound, it's usually guys that are in the top 3 of their respective divisions. They're very, very good. They just haven't made it into the top 10. Like Navarrete, for example. He's a low-level pound-for-pound guy. He's been constantly circling and gravitating around the top 10, but he's never really quite made it there. So that's Navarrete. That's a guy. That's like an 8, a solid 8.
Okay, well then, yeah, I could give Zhang an 8. Right? I think he's at the world level, bro. I do think that's why. I was looking right here at the chat a second ago, and I see their 5s and their 4s, and I'm like, they're gonna tear my ass up right now. But I think Zhang is better than both Ajagba and Bakole. Maybe I'm throwing them too high. Maybe Bakole and Ajagba are 6s and Zhang's a 7, right? But I do think Zhang is good. I think he has a good boxing IQ. And he paces himself well, like despite his weaknesses, right? He knows he's a big lumbering fat ass, right? So he tries to fight accordingly. He picks his shots, but he has good technique. And when he lands, he fucking lands.
Yeah, I like how you said that. Like, yeah, he knows he's a fat ass. He knows he's a fat, disgusting pig. But and then you give him a compliment. So that's good. Yeah, man. That's good.
You gotta lift him up before you drop him.
Exactly, like an alcoholic drink. But you know what, man? I mean, I think So you think that at 42 years old, despite taking a beating from Kabayel, you still think he's a solid 8 compared to all these other guys in the heavyweight division?
I think maybe he's a 7 as well, right? But
There you go.
I think he's better than Bakole and Ajagba. So it would be I would say he's a 7, right? And maybe I'll save number 8 for someone like who's beating him, right? So let's say he's a 7, and to separate himself, I would like to see him fight Bakole.
There you go.
But like you're saying, his age, going off his age, I'm going off more of that from what I've seen in his fights, his more recent fights. You know what I mean? Then how's he going to show up at his next one?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what he's got left because you just never know with these old fat heavyweights. Ralph on Real says, wasn't Bakole on a short notice? Yeah, Bakole versus Parker, that was on short notice. Double L says Zhang is the devil. Okay, I don't know what that means, but David Marino says he would give Zhang a 6. Drexivan says 6. The Canman says 6. Double L says 6. Food TV says 7. Sergeant says 6.
7, bro.
Dwayne Style says, salute BDA. I loved your Canelo video you posted 2 days ago. Well, thank you. Go check it out, everybody. I think it's a solid documentary. The Canman says 6. V Flores says 9. Okay, come on. His chest. Food TV says his chest looks. Food TV says his chest looks trans. He could be a fat Chinese woman. Ah, come on. Okay, how is that helping us decide whether he's a 6 or a 7? Like, Ralph on Real says Zhang is an 8, so he agrees with Sobers. Krispy Kreme says 6. Okay, so let's split the difference a little bit here and just Sobers essentially ended up saying 7. Yeah, bro. You ended up saying 7 at the end of the day. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a solid 7. And you never know, man. He might end up returning and he'll be completely shot or something. But for the moment, if we go back to his previous victories, you can tell he's still a bit of a 7 right there.
So you don't think he could give any problems to Anthony Joshua?
Yes, I do think he could definitely give Joshua some problems by virtue of
he can compete at the world level, I think. He can't beat Usyk, but none of these dudes can, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. And by the way, I just recalled that I forgot to take a screen cap of the rating that we gave Bakole. What did we give Bakole? Did we give him a 6?
I think it's a 6, yeah.
Okay, so I'll put that in my noggin in there to remember. All right, so that's it for Zhilei Zhang. And the next, and you know what? But the fact that he got beat up by Kabayel, I'm not even in the mood anymore to play the Zhilei Zhang. I can't even play it anymore. He has to get a win. Exactly. He needs to earn a win before we can even play that again. Before we can give him the benefit and the privilege of playing that again. He's on the shit list. That's what he's on. Wait a minute. Where are we at now? Okay, so yeah. So that was Zhilei Zhang. We ended up giving him a 7. Next up is Fabio. That's Fabio Wardley. 30 years old, 19-0 with 1 draw and 18 knockouts. That draw came against Fraser Clark. He stands at 6 feet 5 inches tall. So again, pretty big for the heavyweights and right around the average height of these Lomaxes. He's got a 78-inch reach and he's rated number 7 in the heavyweight division according to Ring Magazine. His top wins include David Adelaide, who will be fighting, I believe, on this card. I think I mentioned that. Fraser Clark, whom he knocked out in the first round, I believe. And recently pulled off a last-minute or near-last-minute stoppage against Justin Honey. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Honey. I'm not going to call him Honey. And his worst moment, however, remains the Fraser Clark draw. I'm not going to say... I know some people might be saying, well, what about when he lost virtually every minute of the Honey fight? He ended up winning. So I can't in all good conscience put it there as his worst moment. I would say the Fraser Clark fight because he got his nose bloodied up. He was spouting blood, splurting blood all over the place from that nose. Didn't look all that great. Couldn't really make adjustments. And he ended up getting a draw. He had a lot of flush shots too, by the way. But didn't get the win. So to me, that's still his worst moment. If you go to his attributes here, what makes him a top 10 heavyweight? Well, he's explosive.
Yeah.
He's got quite some speed on him. Power, as we saw against Huni, and as we've seen against lower level guys. The way he stopped Fraser Clark too. Fraser Clark hit Clark so hard. Clark looked like he was mentally handicapped or something. He had the mouth all crooked. He was drooling. He was hanging from the rope. No, really, it was a scary type of knockout. You know, people think scary. When people say scary knockout, they imagine the guy knocked out cold or stiff, you know, the arms up in the air. This was different. The guy was drooping on the ropes with his face looking like he was mentally handicapped. That was a scary knockout, too. So the power is definitely there from Wardley.
He gave him Down syndrome, right?
Come on. and yeah, the power's there. And he's very tenacious. You can see he likes to fight in the trenches, and he never stopped trying against Huni, whereas other guys might have gotten discouraged. So I think that's one of his strong points right there as well. His flaws, well, the number one that we've all managed to identify is he's got a shitty Philly shell. This dude's Philly shell sucks. You saw it against Clark. I think Gorman too, that fat-ass, fat gatekeeper Gorman, was able to catch him with some big shots too, and he's trying to do that Philly shell, especially when he's on the ropes. He's wide open for jabs. He's wide open for right hands. This dude's Philly shell is not that great. They need to switch it up. He's open during attacks too. When he gets a little bit too wide when he's attacking, dropping the opposite hand as well, and he lacks a guard, mainly because he thinks his Philly shell is the shit. So, as you can see, his flaws are mostly defensive. Although I'm pretty sure there's more as well. He's acing the hole, however. His best weapon has to be that right hand. A little bit like Ajagba, you know, that if he's in trouble, that right hand, as we saw against Huni, was able to bail him out. So I think that's his best bet here to score victories, is that big right hand, that power. And the perfect fight for him, I think, would be Efe Ajagba. Because like I said earlier, Ajagba is a big dude. He's ranked number 10 according to Ring Magazine. So I think that would be a solid fight for Wardley that he could win because, as I mentioned earlier, Ajagba doesn't really move his hand that much. His head, rather. But there is a bit of another side to that coin, which is that just like Ajagba doesn't move his head that much, like I said earlier, Wardley over-relies on that shitty shoulder roll. So if he doesn't see the right hand coming from Ajagba, it could be trouble. Could be trouble. So what do we give Fabio Wardley? What rating do we give him? Sobers, if you want to go first.
I'm pretty. I think Fabio Wardley's pretty good. You know, I think he's better than Bakole and what's the other dude's name? Ajagba. I'll say he's a 7, bro. I think there's a lot of contenders in this weight class. All right, so there's gonna be a lot of 6s and 7s, right?
Right.
So I would like to see someone like Wardley maybe fight someone like Zhang or someone like Bakole to show that he's a step above. But I think he's good, and I think he's going to challenge for a world title sooner than later.
Yeah,
so, he's a 7.
That's a good point. He needs to fight. You know, a good fight would be somebody that's ranked below him in the Ring Magazine rankings. But a guy like Zhang, who's older, but he's got a good dossier and he's a proven veteran. So a win over a guy like that would show us more where Wardley ranks. I don't know if to give him I would give him a 6 because he's got a lot of technical deficiencies, but like I said, he's explosive, he's young, fresher than some of these other heavyweights. So that might make up for his technical deficiencies, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go to the chat here, see what they have to say.
Well, there's more 6s in the chat, I think.
Is that right?
Devil worshiper, he's saying this.
Let's see. Fabio broke his jaw, says the Candyman. Oof, that's gotta hurt. The Candyman says 5. Mesivar says 4. DJ Big Leg says 6. The Candyman says Fabio is 30 and still fun on nobody. You know, I usually hate and avoid referring to fighters by their first names, but with Fabio Wardley, I make an exception because that name is just funny. Anytime someone's named Fabio, hey Fabio, what you doing, Fabio? I don't know why it makes me laugh. I don't know. So I'm going to keep calling him Fabio from now on. Technique says number 6. That's a 6 rating. Krispy Kreme says 6. Derritup, well, I don't know. Says Bakole is a bum. All right. Drexivan says 5. Andreas says 5. Beats nobody that is actually good. Quentin Lassiter says Wardley versus Huni was an excellent fight. Drexivan says maybe a 4. Quentin says 5. What's that?
Yeah, damn, I guess I'm way off, huh?
Yeah, you seem to be way off today. I'm telling you, man, you got to stop with the ganja. It's frying your brain.
No, but like I said, I think Fabio Wardley is good. I'm high on Fabio Wardley. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the other thing is, first of all, the guy looks like a monster. He looks like an orc.
He looks like one of the locusts from Gears of War. You know what I'm talking about? He looks like
No, I've never seen it. I'm going to look it up.
Like you said, he's like an orc type of character.
Locust from what? Gears of War?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up here. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Same, the skull and everything. It's almost the same. Hold on. Let me put it up on the screen here so people know what we're talking about. He definitely looks like he's something out of a fantasy book or video game or something. Look at that.
You gotta get close up on the second one near the top.
The second one, oh, this one?
Yeah, he looks like that one. In the face.
Yeah, there you go. There's Fabio right there. That's Fabio Wardley.
Also, Tito Ortiz also looks like one of these guys too.
Yeah, Tito Ortiz had a big ass head. He has a big ass head. He's got a giant noggin, that's for sure. He better not go to Papua New Guinea or whatever those headhunters are, because they look at that noggin, they're going to go, ooh, we can make a nice bowl of soup out of that. All right, so people are saying, what are people saying then? People are saying, Quentin says, Fabio the Locust Wardley. That's going to be his new nickname here on this channel. Fabio the Locust Wardley. The Locust. All right.
Yeah, bro. I think he's a beast. I think he's good.
Rapak says, La Yesca lo está aturdiendo. O lo aturde. Yeah, it's getting you, it's giving you, it's shaking your brain up a little bit, that Yesca. You got to give her a rest, Sobers. Sobers, you're not one of those guys that's like, oh, I can quit anytime, right?
What do you mean?
There's a lot of, the meme is that there's a lot of potheads out there that, and I'm not saying you're a pothead, but people that really do smoke a lot of weed, and that whenever people call them out on it, and they say, hey, man, I think you're smoking, you know, that the people that do the wake and bake, and when they get called out on it, they go, hey, man, I can quit any time.
Well, I mean, I've taken breaks, right? I've taken pauses, but unless I have to, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, bro.
You know what? Just, if I had an addiction, I would just say, yeah, I am, so what? How does that affect you? You know what I mean? That would be my excuse.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I could stop whenever, right? But I was like, I didn't even stop when I was in jail, dude. So,
oh, jeez, Luis. All right. Well, there you go. You can still get some of that good Yesca even when you're inside. All right. Well, listen, let's move on here. So, oh, no, wait a minute. How can we move on? We haven't even. So, people, I'm going to say a 6. We could go for a 5, too. But as I said earlier, if you look at the rating scale here, a 5 is really for journeymen and gatekeepers. And look, Fabio Wardley could very well end up becoming a journeyman or a gatekeeper, but at this point, he's not quite there. He's still undefeated. He's ranked in the top 10 according to Ring Magazine. So for all intents and purposes, he has the ability, the power, the speed to get things done. So we're going to give him a 6. That's a 7, obviously. Hold on, let me just change it here. There you go. We're going to give him a 6. I think that's a good representation of where he's at. And it's interesting because you look at Zhilei Zhang, we gave him a 7, and yet he's ranked below Fabio Wardley. But as you're going to see later on, some of these rankings, obviously, are going to be changing as we go along the year and as these guys continue fighting. These are highly unstable and plastic-like ratings. So that's what we got there. Yes.
You know, like you say, like we were saying earlier, like the wins that Zhang has are just better. Whether he shows up old as molasses, as slow as molasses in his next fight, you know, that remains to be seen. But, you know, like he's done more than Wardley.
Yeah, Byron Nivola says...
and then also, like I said, I think there's a lot of contenders in this division. Someone needs a break away from the pack. You know, Usyk seems to be head and shoulders above everybody. Someone needs to be able to show they're better than everybody else so that they can actually challenge him or take over once he's gone.
Absolutely. Byron Nivola says, Wardley will be a glorified gatekeeper a la Wack in a couple of years. You never know, man. I mean, he's already 30 years old. In a couple more years, he's going to be past his peak. And I don't think he's going to improve that much right now. Plus, he's got Ben Davison in his corner, or Ben Davis, whatever his name is. Who knows how good that dude really is. So,
wow.
Yeah. I remember Stu, one of our panelists, used to say that Ben Davison almost got Tyson Fury killed in that first Deontay Wilder fight by having him dance around the ring, as opposed to taking it to Wilder, who, even at that point, people knew he couldn't fight backing up. So who knows how good Ben Davison is really as a trainer. Where are we at now? So, okay, that was Fabio Wardley.
He was in the corner like Freddie Roach. He can't handle your speed, son.
Which fight was that? Which Roach trained fighter?
De La Hoya and Pacquiao.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
He was
that's
just
great.
beating the shit out of him. He's like, he can't handle your speed, son.
I
He
remember,
went out there and hit him with like an 8-punch combo.
I remember when Mike Tyson, I think it was the first Tyson Holyfield fight, and Tyson was starting to get bullied around in there, and one of Tyson's cornermen told him, "Come on, Mike, hit harder." It's like, yeah, that's great advice right there, man. Just be faster, just be better, just hit harder. Like, that's horrible advice right there, man.
Knock him out. What are you doing? He's right there.
Oh
Hit
yeah,
him.
that's
Thanks.
right up there. That's right up there with
Thanks.
Teofimo Lopez Sr. Knock his ass out right there. What the fuck?
Knock him out already. What are you doing?
Hey, Teofimo Lopez Sr. really fell off the radar, huh? I think Teofimo Lopez Jr. really told him, "Hey, listen, man, you gotta step back now, because now
They might
it's
put a gag order on him. Did they do the same thing to Angel Garcia?
maybe, yeah,
Danny's dad.
maybe. I don't remember.
After he got in Thurman's face, that one time at the press conference, I never seen an interview for him for like 2 years.
Remember after Thurman beat Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia is walking out all angry out of the arena, he goes, "He ain't from Philadelphia. He ain't got a big dick." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was trying to make sense of it.
I don't remember that part.
What was the
hell?
logic? So if you're not from Philadelphia, you don't have a big dick. I mean, and what did that have to do with boxing? Anyway, that dude was all over the place too.
And how do you know, bro? You know what I'm saying? How do you know? Going around that.
Yeah, we don't want to know. We don't want to know how he found that out. Remember when
In the evidence.
I waited. But it's interesting that Angel Garcia, when Danny Garcia was going to fight Amir Khan, and Angel Garcia said that Pakistan has never produced any fighters, that they're not good at fighting. And then Jim Lampley was grilling Angel Garcia about it, and then Angel Garcia goes, "Hey man, I got nothing against Pakistanians. That's what he called them." And so this dude, he was good for a quarter or two, that's for sure. But people started getting tired of his BS. Now, let's move on here. Ranked number 6 at heavyweight, Filip Hrgovic, 33 years old, with a record of 18 wins, 1 loss, 14 knockouts. He stands at 6 feet 6 inches tall with an 82-inch reach. What did I keep telling you? How many guys have we got now so far that are 6 feet 6 with an 82-inch reach? I think he's the third guy. So I say again, this is the
Is he
land
from
of.
Philadelphia? That's
I don't know, man. We'd have to ask Hrgovic's wife if he's from Philly or not. He's got he stands at 6 feet 6 inches tall, 82-inch reach, and a Philadelphia length cock. No, I'm kidding. He's rated number 6 at heavyweight. That's Filip Hrgovic right there. 33. I thought he was younger. Okay, so he's 33 already. That's again, that's also relative in the heavyweight division, because heavyweights, like I said, they tend to have longer careers on average. His top wins, as you can see, it's a bit of a thin resume here. He's got a controversial win over Zhilei Zhang, and in his last fight managed to pull out a win against Joe Joyce. So that's what he's got there. His worst moment so far has to be looking dejected and deflated in losing a TKO against Daniel Dubois. That was last year. That was a fight in which Hrgovic was doing well. He was teeing off on Dubois with those long right hands. And then he started getting, like I said, tired. He started eating headbutts. And then when they waved the fight off, he was just like, all right. I don't know if he was being a stoic or if he just didn't care, or maybe he felt he deserved to lose. I don't know. But a lot of people looked at that and they didn't like it. They questioned his heart, his dogometer. That's what people question. When it comes to his attributes, he's got pretty good combos for a heavyweight. He strings together some nice 5-6 punch combos. Just look at that Zhilei Zhang fight. You don't see a lot of heavyweights nowadays who can string together combos like he does. So that's something that could take him a good long way in this division. He's got a good amateur dossier too. He knows how to box long range. And he might have underrated power. When he was on the come up, he was stopping a lot of guys. Subsequently, he's managed to go. He has gone the distance a couple of times. He's no longer stopping the top opposition, but I have to assume that his power is somehow respectable, and so his future opponents would be ill-advised to underrate that power. His flaws, well, that's what I was talking about earlier. Is he bitch made?
Bitch, man.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't know if you've seen Sobers, but on our Discord, a lot of people ended up calling him Filip Hrgovic because of the way he reacts to adversity.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that fair to say? Are people making too much out of his mental state?
I think he's ranked too high if he's ranked number 6.
Yeah, especially, that's a good point, man. Number 6 with that thin, flimsy resume of his. I mean, even if you count the Zhilei Zhang win, that was 3 years ago.
I don't think he beat him.
Yeah, and that was 3 years ago. On top of that, since then, his best win is Joey Joyce. And on top of that, he got stopped by Dubois. So that kind of, I'm surprised that he's rated number 6. It's a little too high.
And if you didn't get to Joe Joyce first, it don't matter, bro. You know, he sucks.
Exactly. Well, yeah. I wouldn't say he sucks, but yeah, now he's a 40-year-old punching bag, Joe Joyce. Because he was already, when he was at his peak.
He was always a punching bag. His whole thing was you can't stop him. He's a juggernaut. You know, well, once someone stopped him, whatever. You know what I mean? The X-Brag, you know, Humpty Dumpty fell. Just, you know.
You know what? Your explanations sound a little bit like a high school person saying those pants are so 2015. It's like, you know, like whatever. You know,
are you calling me a fucking Valley girl? What the fuck, video?
Yeah, the way you dismiss fighters is like, well, if you didn't get to him first, whatever. I don't know, but
whatever, bitch.
But it makes sense, though. It makes sense what you're saying. That he was already an old guy, Joey Joyce. He had a very short-lived prime. It was a couple of years where he was stopping guys. He really peaked, Joyce, when he stopped Joseph Parker. And then after that, he was all downhill because he was already old. He was 37, I think, by then. So, and that style never ages well. That just let me walk forward, eating big shots. Eventually, that's going to catch up with you. So Hrgovic, some people say that his bitch made doesn't really have the wherewithal to stand there and go to war. Faulty punching technique. He's a bit of a slapper with his hooks and some of his power shots. And the other thing is, doesn't really seem to have that much of an inside game. When Joey Joyce was pressing him, this guy was doing the shoulder roll, which I give him credit. He does the shoulder roll better than Fabio Wardley. But he wasn't really, you know, just clinching involved, and he's running away. If he doesn't have an inside game and he fights somebody like Kabayel, oof, could be trouble. Could be trouble. His ace in the hole, I believe, is that long right hand. Now, it's not as heavy as Ajagba's or Fabio Wardley's, but it's a good, accurate right hand. Again, he was teeing off on Daniel Dubois. And again, it might not be his power. Yeah, he might not be the biggest puncher out there because Dubois was never out from any one right hand, never even appeared really that hurt from those right hands. But he can score points with that long right hand, and you never know. Some of these dudes lack technique here in the heavyweight division. Also, he's very loosey-goosey for a guy his height and his weight compared to this other 6'5" or 6'6" guy. So you never know, man. That long right hand, that's what Angel Garcia calls a Philadelphia right hand because it's long. It's a big right hand. The perfect fight, I believe, would be a bout against Joseph Parker. Why, you say? Because Joseph Parker, he's got a lot of endurance, he's got heart, but he's not a slugger either. He doesn't really push the pace that much. He's a wait-and-see type of fighter, so I think that could benefit Hrgovic. That's the type of pace and rhythm that a Filip Hrgovic would like. Sobers, what do you think? What would be the perfect fight for Hrgovic if you were his manager or promoter or whatever?
We're trying to get him in there with Jared Anderson.
Oh, that's a... Well, hold on. Is Anderson even... Is there anything on the docket for him? Because remember, he had one win. He had a fight after the Bakole debacle, but yeah, that would be a good fight, Anderson. I don't think Top Rank would put him in there against Hrgovic, but we'll see. So now we come to the point where we got to give this dude a ranking. So Sobers in chat, please give us the ranking. And again, just to refresh people's memories, when we talk about rankings, we've got 0 to 3, that's for tomato cans. 4 to 5, that's for journeymen and gatekeepers. 6 to 7, that's for contenders, both low and high level contenders. 8 is for lower rank pound for pounders, people in the top 15, top 20 pound for pound. Maybe even low level 5 pound for pound. And 9 to 10, that's for elite pound for pounders. We're talking cream of the crop, top 5 pound for pounders. So make sure to give us your ratings right there. What are people saying in the chat? Hold on a second. Forward, I'm rewinding here, looking at the comments. All right, here we go. We've got DJ Big Leg says 4. The Canman says 5. Andrea says Filip Buck broken bitch. he got Buck broken by.
6, bro.
You give him a 6. All right. See, Sobers he didn't even overthink it. He just went straight for a 6. So I think that's I think his gut reaction is the right one. Technique says 7. Quentin says 7.
Yeah, I think he's over. I think he's ranked too high. I think he didn't beat Zhang, and then he took a long break, and then he lost to Dubois. I don't know. He needs to do something. Like, he needs to be active. He's a 6, bro. He could be better than some of these guys, but we don't know. So,
you know what? I don't want to underrate him. My gut instinct is to go for a 5, but a lot of people are saying 6.
I was gonna say 5. I was gonna say 5 too, bro. To be honest,
because I mean, again, he's got a good long right hand. He's got boxing skills. When he makes himself hard to hit when he goes into that Philly shell.
He has a veiny right hand.
He's got a purple vein right hand. No, but you know what? I mean, I don't see him. He doesn't have the power, the one-punch knockout power of some of these dudes. He doesn't have the speed that some of these other guys have, the explosiveness. But he's got good, solid skills. I mean, I'm going to go in between and I'm going to give him a 7. Excuse me, a 6. A 6. I'm going to give him a 6. And if people don't like it, what can I tell you? That's the way it goes. I'm going to give him a 6.
That's the way the news goes, right? Life in the big city.
Yeah, exactly. That's life in the big city here. There you go. So we're going to give him a 6. And let me just record that for posterity. By the way, yeah, one more loss. And I'll agree with you guys. We'll devalue him to a 5. But for the moment, I think a 6 is right what the doctor ordered for Filip Hrgovic. Hrgovic. Hold on a second.
El Animal.
What's that?
His name, right? El Animal.
Is that his nickname? El Animal. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's that doesn't fit at all, man. Does not fit. Like, they're trying to make it out like, oh yeah, this guy's an animal. Maybe you know what? Maybe it's one of those things where in the gym he looks like an animal, in sparring and all that.
The best I've ever seen Filip Hrgovic look was in that sparring with Deontay Wilder, where he's kind of beating him up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe that's
19,
where the name.
you know what I mean? That's why I don't know. I just don't have a high opinion of him, I guess.
Yeah, that's where the nickname came from, maybe. All right,
yeah.
Let's go to another ranking here. Let's go to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, still a big name from what people can. I mean, I don't know if he fights against a top opponent, he can still probably fill out a good venue. He's 33 years old, so at the same age as Filip Hrgovic, but much more accomplished. He's got a record of 28 wins, 4 losses, 25 knockouts, standing at 6 feet 6 inches tall with an 82-inch reach. Same dimensions as Hrgovic, by the way. And he's ranked number 5 at heavyweight. His top wins, well, as you can see, he's got a deep dossier. Such a deep dossier that I actually had to leave some wins out. He's got a win over Vladimir Klitschko, Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz, recently against Otto Wallin. This dude has seen it all. Every style, every punch. And he's a veteran through and through. His worst moment, well, there's a couple. Take your pick. To me, it's the most recent one when he was outboxed and stopped by Daniel Dubois. It wasn't only so much, because if he would have been stopped, I gave Dubois a stoppage chance in that fight. I didn't expect him to outbox Anthony Joshua and dominate him the way he did. But on top of that, not only did he do that, but also Joshua was doing a lot of circus act. He was acting like a clown in that fight, getting hit with a big right hand and then sticking his tongue out, looking at the crowd and shaking his ass. There was a point, I don't know if you remember, where he was in his corner. No, excuse me, he was in a corner and the round ended and it turned out to be Dubois' corner. So Joshua stepped aside and sort of motioned like a waiter for Dubois to sit down. Like, yeah, go ahead, sit down. I was like, what are you doing? You're trying too hard to show that you're not flummoxed by the guy that this dude is beating your ass like you're his redheaded stepchild. And I don't know, it's just Joshua really, that was a really bad look. So to me, that's still his worst moment. Sobers, what do you think? Would you agree with that, or?
His worst moment had to be fucking Ruiz embarrassing the shit out of him.
Now, why would you say that? Why would you pick that over Dubois?
Well, because that was supposed to be his introduction to the United States, right? So he's already a megastar in the UK, and now they're bringing him over. He was supposed to fight the New York dude, Joseph Miller, but fucking Big Baby, right?
Yeah.
And then he pulls out, he fails, he tests positive for everything. Pull him out. They pull in this fat butterbean Mexican, who just said, "Hey, let me get in there. Give me a chance, Eddie." You know what I mean? And though just the optics, right? This fat, short little dude who's a late step in, and this is his like a showcase fight. He's taking over the UK. Now we're introducing him across the pond, whatever, and he's going to take over the United States next. That was him trying to become a global star, and he got fucking embarrassed. He got knocked the fuck out. He didn't just get like dropped one time. He was flying around the ring. He was against the ropes, like slumping, fighting to keep himself up when this little fucking beaner was just like coming at him, like, you know what I'm saying, with like hitting him with everything, and he ended up kind of quitting in the corner. So like it was much more embarrassing. I think that really slowed his star down, and him losing to Dubois. I mean, he had already not been looking so great in his last couple fights. So at that point, they're still trying to build him back up. You know what I mean? From the place that he had fallen originally, where Andy Ruiz had really dropped his ass. He never really recovered from that.
It's a good point. Those are good points. I got to tell you, it's a compelling case you make. It's true that the optics of him, the chiseled Adonis, getting manhandled by a shorter, fat Ruiz, that was a bad look. You're right. We'll leave it at that for the moment. But you're right.
And Dubois, they like the people in the UK. They would like Dubois to they have a new, they're another buff dude to represent them now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. But we'll leave it at that. I mean, it's agree to disagree or whatever they call it. Although I do agree with you, so it's not the same thing. Whatever. Listen, let's move on. Attributes, experience. He's got a lot of experience, like I said. It's almost he's been around forever. That's the way it seems, and yet he's only 33 years old. I mean, this dude, like I said, he's fought everybody, and he's beaten almost everybody. So, quite the dossier that he has. Power, he's still very heavy-handed, either with a left hook, with a right hand. This dude can crack, and that jab of his didn't help him a lick against Dubois, but it's still a solid jab. I don't know if there's many heavyweights out there who have the technique, the talent, the ability to circumvent that jab. So we'll see what happens if Joshua ever comes back. Maybe we see if that jab is still there. His flaws, well, durability. For a long time, especially after Luis stopped him, people said, he's kind of chinny. Dylan White hurt him, Klitschko dropped him, and then Luis stopped him. But to be fair, a lot of those dudes, heavyweight division, these guys are heavy-handed. But since then, we've seen him get dropped. So the durability aspect there, there's a lot of other heavyweights out there who've never been, Joseph Parker's fought everybody, just like Anthony Joshua, and he's only been stopped once, whereas Joshua has been hurt multiple times. So maybe there is something to the notion that he lacks durability. He's a little bit hesitant too in there. If you don't give him an opening, he's hesitant to go out there and create one. I'm reminded of the Hellenius fight, where Hellenius was just moving around, leaning away from the right hands, and Joshua was very hesitant to just step in there, go to the body, dig to the body, something. He just kept missing with that 1-2, 1-2 until he finally caught him. And at this point in his career, there might be a lack of motivation because he has, I would venture to say, he has a lot of money. He was a star almost from the get-go as a prospect. And then very early in his career, he got that mega fight against Klitschko. So count the number of fights he's had, the big events he's taking part in. He's got to be set for life for multiple generations. And on top of that, he's beaten everybody. I mean, he's fought everybody. He already lost twice to Usyk, so what's the point of a third fight? It stands to reason there's not much he can do to get himself a win against Usyk in a rubber match if it ever happens. He got his ass knocked out by Dubois. Maybe a rematch of losers could work, or maybe the Tyson Fury fight. But other than that, does he really get motivated? Does it really light his coals, or does it really motivate him and light a fire under him to fight a guy like Fabio Wardley or a Hrgovic? I don't know. So there could be that lack of motivation that might just end up stopping his career. Now, his ace in the hole, his number one thing that I think distinguishes him from other heavyweights, the right uppercut. That right uppercut, it's a bit of a whopper. I would not like to be in the vicinity of Joshua when he starts launching uppercuts. Just ask Pulev and Dylan White and Vladimir Klitschko. Now, of course, Joshua can be a little dirty with that. Prior to the uppercut, he'll grab guys behind the head and then boom, he'll launch that uppercut. So it's a little bit of the dark arts in there as well. The perfect fight, I think a lot of people I've heard other people say this too, a Fury fight. Because Fury is not as big a puncher as some of these other guys. At this point, he's not the fastest either. And it would be a mega fight for Joshua against a guy who's at or around his age and who also might be, in terms of career damage or life damage that he's taking, Fury might actually be in worse shape than Joshua. So it could be an interesting fight. Sobers, what do you think? What would the perfect fight for Joshua be?
I think Fury would be good. I don't think he can beat. I don't think he can beat him right now. I think actually he needs some kind of a warm up fight. He's like another confidence building kind of fight.
There you go. Now, what rating are we gonna give?
Very fragile. You know what I'm saying? Like mentally.
I didn't hear you. What?
He seems very fragile mentally, like his ego.
You know what? People said that after the Usyk fights, where he didn't look all that great against Jermaine Franklin, he didn't look all that great against Helenius. And then he had the win over Otto Wallin and Ngannou, and that all of a sudden, boom, people said, you see, he wasn't mentally handicapped or anything, or spiritually handicapped, and now we're back to that. And I think there is a certain degree of truth that there's a certain mental weakness in Anthony Joshua. And by weakness, I would say there's, like I said, hesitancy. There's a little bit of hesitancy. He doesn't know whether he wants to be a boxer puncher, power puncher. I mean, I don't know. It's a... And then when what's his name, Dubois was beating him up, he's acting like a clown. It's like, come on, man, just stay focused, stay on point. And he never did that. He just fell apart. Was that?
That was his ego.
Maybe, or maybe I'm making too much of it. I don't know. I'm still unsure of where I stand with that whole Anthony Joshua being mentally weak thing. Now, I tell you what, people in the chat are saying. Barry Nivola says Hrgovic 7. Okay, no, that's Hrgovic there. Siphon PSX says AJ quit versus Ruiz. He has no heart. King KO says AJ was fast-tracked and tested early in his career. Rapak Strong Company says AJ versus Fury would be all right to see. Triple B says AKA Skins took AJ's manhood away, Pancho. His body was never the same. I don't know if that's English that this guy's speaking or what. King Butcher says 7. Andreas says he never recovered from the Vlad knockdown. He has been cautious ever since. Barry Nivola says, I wouldn't exactly call it quitting like Triple D does. AJ was trying to take time and feign incredulousness. He was already buzzed like crazy. Well, I mean, we can stay here and debate whether he quit or not. The point is, he's got a bunch of losses. He's ranked number, where is he now? 6 or 5? In the heavyweight division. 5. Okay, thank you, man. So the ranking, people are saying 7 or 6. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say he's still like a 7. Sobers, what do you think?
I think 7's good. You know, he hasn't been looking great, but his body of work, and he's not that old. You know, he can still have some good performances. Who knows? They find some new little steroid to inject to him.
Oh, wait a minute! Allegedly,
new man, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I'm. If I could give a 7.5 or whatever, we don't have that here, but I would give him a 7.5. I still think he's better than Hrgovic, much better than Wardley, and all the other guys that we even. I think he's still better than Zhilei Zhang. But it's just that if the last thing we remember of him is getting completely outboxed and knocked out by Daniel Dubois. I don't know. I'm okay. So you guys said 7, right?
Yeah, I think 7 is good.
I'm gonna break the rules here. I'm gonna go actually here. I'm gonna say 7.5.
Well, then just give him an 8, bro.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, he could still compete at the world level, right? He could potentially get a title. Say Usyk retires, he could he could win a world title again.
Yeah, because and that's the thing though. That I know it was already 3 years ago, which can be a lot at the heavyweight division. But he looked very good in that Usyk rematch. He looked
he did,
very
and
good.
that was a mistake for him to not continue to work with Robert Garcia.
But how much did he work with Robert Garcia though? Because I think I remember Robert Garcia saying, or some I don't know if it was Robert Garcia who said that they were only training via webcam or something.
That'd be retarded, dude. But
yeah.
I mean, it worked. He looked better in that fight than I'd seen before or after.
Yeah, they were training via chatterbait or something.
Every
Every time Joshua wanted some advice, he would have to send some coins to Garcia. Like,
and
come
ding,
on,
ding, ding.
Yeah.
Left hook, ding, ding.
Oh, God knows what else Joshua asked for in there from Garcia. I wouldn't want to see those archives. All right,
You're
but
from
listen.
Philadelphia, aren't you?
Show me whether you're from Philly or not.
Hey, aren't you from Philadelphia?
All right.
But,
Yeah. Right. So that was Joshua right there. Let's move on to another name here, and that is
I'm sorry. What I was gonna try to say, BD. I'm sorry, dude. But
that's all right. That's right.
when he fought Usyk in that rematch, dude, that was a fight where I seen Usyk. I was like I wanted Usyk to win, right? So when you see the guy that you want to win, you see him getting beat up, you're like, oh, you start cringing, like, oh fuck, what's about to happen? You know, I hadn't seen that happen to Usyk so many times than like in any other fights. You know, I think Joshua was hurting him to the body a lot, and he had him on the back, on the back foot a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of good moments.
That's a good point there. That's a good point. Sobers, I got to go to latrines real quick because I just downed a whole bottle of Coca-Cola. It's been a while since I've drank soft drinks.
You're urine like 1-1-0 Marquez.
Exactly, yeah. So, hey, by the way, I was drinking cane sugar Coca-Cola straight from Mexico, so much better than the fructose, whatever they sell you here. All right, I'll be right back.
So, you know what's funny that BDA just said he was drinking Coca-Cola? That's hilarious because he's someone who he takes care of his health, right? He tries to be mindful. He says, "Oh, I'm just drinking tea. I don't eat late. I'll eat just like a little piece of toast and avocado, whatever, something fruity like that." But just you can tell he's a Mexican, bro, because no matter what, they still love a good Coke, right? Some good Coke. They still love some good Coke. Every Mexican loves some good Coke. You know what I mean? And the Mexican Coke's even better. But I'm making a joke, right? But for real though, it's like Mexicans are addicted to that shit. And I think I seen a video on YouTube where they like use it during prayer ceremonies, like the little brujas in Mexico. They'll have like a 2-liter, and they'll pour it into a little shot glass, and they'll say a prayer, and then they'll give it to this dude who has like a big ass wart on his foot, and they're like, "Here, drink this, the magic elixir, and you'll feel better." Yeah, they give it. She gives they give shots of Coca-Cola to people with diabetes. Crazy shit like that.
All right, I'm back. Thank you for holding down the fort. What are people in the chat saying? Coca-Cola without the cola? All right. No, I don't do Coca without the cola. Quentin says probably eats guacamole on his toast. Siphon PX says everyone likes Coke. Okay, so everyone, Rappa Strong Company says, what do you mean Coke? Everyone's hung up on the Coke thing. Come on, guys. But by the way, did I say fructose?
Well, I was talking about how Mexicans just love Coke. Coke.
I see. Well, thank you for that.
I basically just love Coke, right? Like I was like, even someone who tries to be mindful of their health, like you, right? I'm just drinking tea, right now, guys. You still like drinking Coke too, and it's like
every once
Mexicans
in a while.
everywhere.
No, every once in a while, I like a little soft drink. Every once in a while, I don't. There's people out there that drink it with every meal. I mean, come on, that's gonna take its toll on you. You gotta watch out for that. The other thing I wanted to say is that I said fructose earlier. I meant corn syrup. That's what they put in soft drinks here in Canada and the United States. Cane sugar is not that much better, but the taste is better. So I'll go with that. All right, listen. Let's get back to the division rankings here. We're giving you guys the dossiers on the top 10 heavyweights according to Ring Magazine. We're giving them, or we're giving you guys what their strengths are, their weaknesses, future fights, perfect fights, worst moments, and then at the end, you guys decide what rating should be assigned. Right now, we're at number 4 in the heavyweight division, and we've got Daniel Dubois, Triple D. 27 years old, one of the youngest heavyweights in the top 10. 22 wins, 3 losses, 21 knockouts. He stands at 6 feet 5 inches tall with a 78-inch reach. So, as you can see, compared to some of these other guys that are 6 feet 5 or 6 feet 6, he actually has a shorter reach than them. But, as we're going to see, he makes up for it with other attributes. He's ranked number 4 in the heavyweight division. Top wins, well, that's mostly recently. That's where he's in the last 2 years. That's when he beefed up his resume. Had a stoppage win over Jarrell Big Baby Miller, a stoppage win over Filip Hrgovic, and a stoppage win over Anthony Joshua. All of those within the span of about 12 months. His worst moment, he's got a couple, but to me, it's still quitting when Usyk hit him with a jab in that first fight. I mean, I know Usyk, he tires people out with the in and out movement and all that, but come on. He could have gotten off from that jab. At least get up after he hit you with a jab, take a combo, and then you can say, okay, that's enough. But from a jab, that was just a bad look. Sobers, do you agree or disagree?
I agree, bro. That's why I thought it was so weird that people were pumping him up in the rematch. Talking about that body shot. I'm like, dude, later he tapped out to a jab, but whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people missed that, man. A lot of people, I mean, and I'm still, kudos to Dubois.
People forget, man.
Yeah, don't forget the body shot. Usyk doesn't like body shots, man. Listen.
I don't know what kind of God you believe in, Usyk, but my God doesn't believe in lying about body shots.
Yeah, that dude, he was clearly angry over that. And look at all that talking for naught. His guy ended up getting stopped again. And now they got to go back to the drawing board.
Much worse.
Yeah, destroyed much worse. Yeah, this was he took more punishment this time, or actually heavier shots. So quitting against from a jab, that has to be his worst moment. Because at least when Joyce made him quit with a jab, it was he fractured his orbital. But this, come on. Daniel Dubois has many attributes that he's managed to translate into victories. He's got speed. For a guy that's 6 feet 5, very, very quick. In fact, he outsped Joshua in their matchup. So he's deceptively quick. He's got power with both hands. And that jab of his is a bit of an underrated jab. It gets through the target, pierces guards. He was winning the jab war against Joshua. And I told you earlier that Joshua's a good jabber. So Daniel Dubois, that jab, a little bit underrated. And it's a heavy jab and quick. So that's a dangerous weapon for him. His flaws, well, there's a couple. He doesn't have a guard. He's got that classic European stance, but an exaggerated one. And there's a big gap in between his gloves. Hence why Filip Hrgovic was landing big right hands all over him at the beginning of their fight. The question too is he mentally weak? Because we've already, even against Usyk, it seemed like he could have gotten up. Now, some people could say, oh, BDA, he was clearly screwed up. His brains were scrambled. I don't know. I think he could have, gotten up one last time and swung for the fences to try to get at Usyk. And then on top of that, people are sticking to the mental aspect. Some people claim or posit that he might be on the spectrum. Some sort of Asperger's or autism. I don't know. So can you really be that good a boxer if you're on the spectrum? I know there's a lot of people out there that, I think they saw the Predator movie where at the end they say, oh yeah, autistic people are actually like, they're like the X-Men. Warrior. Yeah, they're exactly. Yeah, they're the ultimate warriors. They're the next step in evolution. I don't think that's quite correct. And so Daniel Dubois, he could hinder him. What do you think, Sobers? What do you think about his mentality? Is there something?
His mentality is that of a 5-year-old, right?
All right.
He said, like, you brought up his worst moment. I want to bring up his best moment. I think I put the link to the video right there in the little chat, but it's when he was on the mic against Big Baby Miller.
Oh,
and he goes, he goes, "Every baby has a daddy, and I'm gonna beat you like I'm your daddy." And then he's like, "Oh, you can see the look at his face. He's all proud of himself." And he goes, "What's up?" Like,
It wasn't only that; it was that stupid smile he had.
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying. That shit-eating grin.
Yeah, it's like he's not there really. It's almost like he's just reciting something somebody told me. It's not coming from the heart. Actually, let me play it for
Well,
people.
it's like when you're seeing a little kid that learns how to read, and they say the first sentence,
Big baby.
by themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. There's an empty blank thing going on. Let's play it just to give people, because I think it's actually worth playing because it figures into whether he's got the right mentality or not, or whether there's something off about him. Let's see.
Big baby. Every baby has a daddy. And I'm gonna beat you like I'm your daddy.
What's up? I don't know what card they
What's
prompted
up?
you to read that on, but I'm happy you did it. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3.
Bring it on.
Boy just lost his virginity.
You know, I'm ready to fight. I got a support behind me and I'm ready to just show up. Show up.
I'm just ready to punch him in the face already. I'm gonna cook this shrimp, the 2-time quitter. You know what I'm trying to say?
spanking, boy.
2-time quitter. Ain't gonna
Getting a
spank. Listen.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson, boy.
He's so pleased with himself, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, what was the name of that climate change girl that was hot for? I mean, not hot. I mean that she was hyped up. That's what I was trying to say. Not hot as in. No. I'm not like some of these other.
Say it again?
No. I'm not like some of these other YouTubers that come on. They got criminal records. What I'm saying is, she was being pushed a lot by the media. What was her name? The climate change girl. The shame on you.
Oh, that little Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, her.
She's a Palestinian advocate now, I think.
Oh, there
She's
you go.
pivoted.
That's not so bad. But yeah, remember she was reading off a script every time, and then when they caught her off guard, and they would actually catch her off script, she didn't have anything to say. They would ask her a question.
She started drooling and shit.
Yeah, and then I saw one where some journalist tried to ask her something, and you could tell she was having some sort of anxiety attack, and then her entourage actually started scolding the reporters.
Having a seizure.
Yeah, she was started having like a seizure, and her entourage scolded the reporters like, "How dare you ask her questions?" Or what? I mean, she's the one that's always seeking attention and talking. Why can we? How can we can't ask her questions? So there was definitely something weird going on there with her.
You're stepping on my dreams.
Yeah, there you go. Where were we at? Okay, so yeah, there you go. That's Daniel Dubois on the spectrum, possibly on the spectrum. And hold on a second, I'm trying to look for the next step. Here, our final page on Daniel Dubois. He's ace in the hole. He's got a big right hand. As you can see, it's a lot of big right hands in this division. But he's another one. That big right hand of his, I just asked Anthony Joshua what he can do. I think that's going to be a weapon that's going to get him out of trouble in a lot of fights. And even if he doesn't get him out of trouble in the sense that he knocks people out cold, it's going to be the type of weapon that a lot of these guys don't know how to neutralize. So it's only going to make them more hesitant to attack Dubois, and possibly it's going to make him go on the defensive. So I think that's his ace in the hole right there. His left hook ain't bad either, though. He's got a good, quick left hook. The perfect fight, I think, would be Fabio Wardley. Because, yeah, Fabio Wardley hits hard. He could potentially get to Daniel Dubois. But as we saw earlier, Fabio Wardley has a bad Philly shell defense. And what's the number one weapon against a bad Philly shell defense? A jab. And Daniel Dubois has a quick, hard jab. I think that's a winnable fight for Dubois against a fellow British name. I think that could also do good business in the UK. And it could add Daniel Dubois a little bit more credibility in the bank after losing to Usyk. So that's what I got there. So what do you say, fellas? Daniel Dubois, what's the ranking? What's the rating that we give him? 0 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, 8, or a 9 and a 10? Sobers, you want to start?
I would say that I'll give him 8, right? He's shown that he's a step above the other contenders, that he can compete at the world level, can win, he can be a world champion. So, yeah, I'd say he's number 8. He's number 8, right? Give him 8.
All right, you're saying 8.
Maybe he is autism weaponized, dude, and that Predator movie isn't as stupid as we thought.
Somehow I doubt it, man. Somehow I doubt it. DJ Big Leg says he gives him a 5. The Can Man gives him a 6.
Damn.
Yeah, they're very low. People have a very low outlook on Dubois.
No mercy for the mentally handicapped, right? No matter that he's crippled.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like Nazis. They would throw this dude into a concentration camp. He doesn't serve the cause. Quentin gives him a 7. Diaper Dandy gives him a 7.5. Sergeant gives him a 7. Body Love gives him an 8. Fu gives him an 8. Andreas says 5. The only man to ever fail an IQ test. Freedom Films says Dubois is a 7 at best. Double L says 6. Gene Ryu says 8. King KO says 7. You know what? By virtue of the fact that he was on a good winning streak, he's better than Joshua, I think, at this point in their careers. I'm going to give him an 8. Because he's fresh, or fresher than an Anthony Joshua, for example. Certainly fresher than a guy like Zhilei Zhang. And he's got a better dossier, superior dossier than an Ajagba, Bakole, Hrgovic, and definitely a Wardley. So I still think he's very dangerous. I think it's going to take some top-level operators to stay away from his power. And, yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Hey, hold on. Hey, we gave Joshua an 8, right?
He's a 7 or 8.
I think we gave him an 8. Let me, you know what? That's why I'm saving these so we can check. I believe we gave Joshua an 8. Hold on. Let me open up the files here. What do we got? Midget porn. Marquez fights. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. All right. So, no, yeah, Joshua, we gave him an 8.
Deontay Wilder's Grady 6.
What did you say? Deontay Wilder's, what?
Grady 6.
No, I thought you said Deontay Wilder's fashion designers or something. I got their contact information. Deontay Wilder. Remember that dude? Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, that's what I said. Thanks for reminding me.
No, you didn't say that. And you know what? The funny thing is, back in 2001, in the build-up to the third Fury fight, we were playing clips of those dudes. Like, I think Deontay Wilder. And somebody in the chat said, that dude... I'm still laughing over it. Somebody said, that dude is a demon. And then somebody in the chat goes, yikes. Like, he couldn't believe, I think he wasn't a regular viewer or something. And I mean, listen, this is the type of chat where you're going to get people calling.
It's like it's so weird people to get caught up with, right? Like, as far as boxing goes, like, who introduced you to these guys?
You know what? That's a very good question. I'm really curious about that answer. How did Deontay, I think it was his wife. I think I remember now. I think his wife introduced him to these two peculiar fellas. So yeah, man. I mean, Deontay, he had a car that was ghettoed out or something like. He said something about ghettoed out, and you could see Wilder was getting uncomfortable. Sitting next to that guy, he wasn't uncomfortable.
Did he say the suit was supposed to be even bigger than originally than he came out in, that black one?
I don't remember that.
He was supposed to be carrying he said that he was supposed to be carrying a battery pack in the back, and there was supposed to be like a laser show coming off his back. Think how much gayer that would have looked, dude, if there's like a laser show while he was walking down the arena.
Speaking of autist, I don't know if this guy was autistic, but he clearly seemed like one. During the whole Wilder Glovegate thing, there was a guy who kept commenting in our videos about debunking the whole Glovegate thing, and he kept saying, "No, it's not true." And back then I used to interact more with people in the comment section. I don't do that anymore. I can't be bothered going back and forth with some of these comments. They don't warrant a response, a lot of them. But I was going back and forth with the guy, and sobers, this dude wouldn't stop posting. And then on top of that, he was making videos about that. He said he blamed the lights, the LED lights on Deontay Wilder's eyes, on the suit. You know, remember he had these red lights? He said that blinded Deontay Wilder. And I said, holy smokes, this dude would not stop posting. And I think the reason why I say I think he was autistic was because he wouldn't stop posting these big-ass schizo paragraphs. It was insane. It was somewhat frightening, but funny simultaneously. And I hold those moments... I look back on those. I say, those were some good times when I used to.
Those are the scariest and the best moments.
Well, there you go.
Right.
I live a life of danger, man. What can I say? All right, so that's Daniel Dubois right there. Up next, we've got Agit Kabayel, 32 years old, 26-0 with 18 knockouts. As you can see by his dimensions here, he's smaller than the average heavyweights. Like you saw, we have a lot of guys that are 6 feet 5, 6 inches tall. This dude is 6 feet 3 inches tall with an 80-inch reach. Interestingly enough, he's shorter than Dubois, but he's got longer arms. He's got those, what Angel Garcia calls the Philadelphia arms. And he's ranked number 3 in the heavyweight division. His top wins include, and these are some recent wins, most of them. He's got a win over Derek Chisora. Makhmudov, I forget his first name, but Makhmudov is a guy who trains here in my neck of the woods in Montreal. Giant troll-looking guy. He stopped him. Kabayel did. He also stopped the undefeated Frank Sanchez, and then he ended up stopping Zhilei Zhang. This dude, Kabayel, by virtue of these wins, is now considered the boogeyman of the division. His worst moment, I haven't been able to find a particular one or one that's very egregious compared to some of the other names we've seen so far, but he did kind of look flat prior to the Makhmudov wins. Even against Chisora, he was moving around a lot more, and I don't know if that's because Chisora was able to match and maybe even surpass him in terms of strength, because again, Chisora is a big dude. He's not the tallest guy in the division, but he's a Kodiak bear, polar bear, and Kabayel had to move around a lot. But he also didn't look all that great decisioning Kevin Johnson in, I believe, 2021. And Kevin Johnson's a guy that he's a classic gatekeeper. He'll make a lot of guys look bad. He can go the distance. Only a couple of guys have managed to stop him. But Kabayel, it seemed like he labored to decision Johnson. So to me, that's the worst moment so far that I've been able to identify from him. In terms of attributes, pressure. You know what people love to say, pressure busts pipes. And it's true with Kabayel, man. I mean, he's already taken undefeated records and beat down the guy that was considered the boogeyman earlier in Zhilei Zhang. This dude just keeps coming he just keeps coming forward, and he also uses the lead hand to this. No, I say he keeps going forward. That's what I said. And he uses his left hand to distract his opponents. So he never lets them rest. Again, if you go back to 2021, 2022, he didn't seem as aggressive and as wily as he is now. Also, I've heard a couple of people throw some shade his way, saying that, maybe, he's got the snack, maybe he's on snack or something, because he's really destroying guys now, whereas before he was going to the distance. But he's also very good at cutting the ring off, as we saw against Frank Sanchez, a mobile boxer. And from a mental standpoint, I think he's got momentum on his side, because he scored 3 upsets at this point and 3 stoppages on top of that against solid opposition. He's got to be riding high right now, sky high. His confidence has to be very high, is what I'm trying to say. So, they always say boxing is partially or largely a mental game. So maybe that's going to help him out in the future. Even in a fight where maybe things aren't going his way, he's going to know, hey, if I just keep plugging away, I'm going to come out the winner. In terms of flaws, is he one-dimensional? I've seen him, like I said, in the Chisora fight. He was moving backwards in certain spots. Early against Zhilei Zhang too, he was moving around a lot. So he's got good footwork. He can go backwards if he wants to, but I don't know how many decisions he can win doing so, especially against these taller, longer, and sometimes even faster guys. So it remains to be seen whether he's got different dimensions. Also, does he only have one gear? In other words, if he ever stands up against a guy who can actually match his output or punch between his body shots, what's plan B for Kabayel? And he seemed very open to counters when he fought Zhilei Zhang. Now, I don't know if I blame that on the fact that Zhang, as I mentioned earlier, is a very good counterpuncher. But Kabayel, when he starts opening himself up, there might be room for some of these taller heavyweights to whack him with an uppercut. So we'll see. But as you can see, it's still a little bit hard to anoint him with too many weaknesses. That's why I'm curious to see who he fights next. His ace in the hole, I gotta say, man, that body punching. Almost all these other heavyweights, they got, like I said, a big right hand, a one-punch knockout power. This dude is hitting these behemoths with body punching, and he's hurting them. I talked to Gonzalo about that one time a couple of years ago. I said, how come most heavyweights don't go to the body? And we couldn't really quite figure it out. This dude is proving that if you're just consistent with those body shots, you can create a whole bunch of damage. Just look at poor Frank Sanchez and Zhilei Zhang, how they were wincing from those body shots. So yeah, that is his special weapon. As for the perfect fight, I still think it's that Usyk fight. What other fight is out there for him? It's got to be the Usyk fight. I mean, that's it. You know, he's on a run. Nobody seems to be able to stop his body shots. I think the ultimate litmus test we want to see the come forward guy, the come forward slugger against the ultimate boxer in Oleksandr Usyk. What do you guys think? Is that the perfect fight for him at this point?
Yeah, I think he's ready for the world level. He's ready to challenge. I think he's got enough wins under his belt and he was wins that he wasn't supposed to get. Right, he's like a nobody underdog, so he's proven himself. And yeah, I do think as far as a rating, I'd give him an 8. But I think he's ready for the world level. And yeah, Usyk probably would be good.
Interesting. Anybody else want to weigh in?
What about the Gans? You said his name, BDA.
Yeah, I can go. I can go if no one else wants to go.
Yeah, you can leave now. Yeah, you're right.
Bye.
Oh.
Oh, you mean go? Okay, no, you mean go as in yeah. Go ahead.
No, first off, Sobers, I hanged you, bro. I caught you lying and leaking DMs. So shut the fuck up on that.
Look how fucking butthurt you are. Are we talking about?
No. Who's the one leaking DMs though? Hey, straight up lying, bro. And I caught you in a lie, and then you stopped talking to me when I caught you in a lie, right?
Hey, I wonder why you came with your mic all the way up. It's still not loud enough, dude. It's still not loud enough. But go ahead.
No, lie some more, bro.
What a fucking creep. Are you about to talk about a fucking conversation on Discord?
Okay, anyway.
You fucking
no,
lame.
because
go ahead.
No. You're fucking
out of
lame,
context
bro.
for everybody listening, but go ahead, you fucking lame. Go ahead. Get your little ego back.
Lie some more, leak some more DMs, bro. Fucking snake.
Send me more pictures, you fucking creep. I didn't ask you for
you're
photos.
A snake, bro.
Don't send me photos,
everybody
bro.
knows that's Joshy, bro. Everybody knows that. I got a confirmation from Joshy himself telling me that, bro.
Don't send me photos of people.
You snake.
Don't DM people on Discord photos, bro. It's creepy. I'm sorry.
Nobody sent you photos of anybody.
Sorry.
You snake.
Don't do that shit. Sorry, dude. It's gay. Anyways, go ahead. What you got to say about Kabayel?
I think Kabayel, first of all, cool guy.
Clearly you got over it.
No, cool guy, first of all. No, I'm not over it because you're fucking. You don't do that. You don't leak people's DMs. That's not cool.
You're over this shit.
No, I'm not because you don't do that.
I know you're not. That's obvious, dumbass.
Yeah, I'm stating it, retard.
Turn your mic up a little louder, bro. Turn your mic up a little bit louder. We can't hear you.
You can hear me clearly.
What a fucking lame. Go ahead, bro.
Whatever, snake. Anyway,
I hope this went the way you wanted. I hope this went the way you expected.
No, what way?
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna expose it.
No. I literally said I'm gonna go come here and talk shit because straight up, bro.
Okay. Talk shit, bitch. Go ahead.
I am, bro. I am. Like what?
Turn your mic up first, though. Turn your mic up first so we can
fucking
hear you.
Snake. You don't do that. You don't go around leaking people's DMs. You don't go doing that shit, bro. You're straight up lying, and I caught you in the lie, and that's when you stop talking. No, that's when you stop talking. That's when you stop talking, though, right? Right when I caught you in the lie, and you're straight up lying, bro.
Don't be weird like that, bro. Don't be fucking weird like that.
No, why are you lying, though? Are you female?
Why did you send that to me?
Why are you lying? Are you female?
Why did you send that? I didn't ask for it.
Send what?
Send it again, bro.
Send what?
Photos of yourself, you fucking creep.
That's not me. That's Joshy. That's a photo of Joshy, and Joshy confirmed it. I have that. I can send that right now and show everybody that that's a photo of him saying that is me.
Fucking picture of you shirtless, you fucking creep.
I'm not brown. I'm white.
Everyone's interested.
I'm not brown. I'm white, bro.
Everyone's impressed, bro. It's weird. It's gay. Whatever. But keep doing it.
I'm not brown. I'm not brown skinned.
I'm
not brown skinned.
Is that what you're fucking?
I'm not brown skinned, bro. Everybody knows that shit, bro. Everybody knows that shit, bro.
You shouldn't have said that, dude.
Everybody knows that shit. I'm not brown skinned. You're fucking lying.
Next time you try to flirt with somebody, confirm that they're gay.
No, I'm not brown skinned. You're a fucking liar. Everybody knows that, bro.
Weird ass gay ass motherfucker.
No. You're lying, bro. Straight up.
No.
No, you're straight up lying.
No.
Anyway, Kabayel's a cool dude. He follows me on Instagram. Shout out for that. I followed him. He followed me back.
Little boy.
Bro, we're continuing with the show now.
Boy, we can't hear you.
No. I'm not gonna talk to a fucking liar.
No. What happened to your throat, bro? Why can't you talk any louder again?
Bro, can we continue on with the show now? I think we're over this now.
I
think we're over this now.
Why you can't yell? Did he throw fuck you?
No, I just came here to tell you you're a fucking liar and a fucking snake. Because who goes around people's DMs? Anything I sent you in privacy, you fucking snake.
Yeah? Hey, did they throw fuck a hole in your esophagus and that's why you can't raise your voice no more?
Why are you lying?
Well, I mean, will you tell me
why did you lie? Why did you want to lie? Why did you straight up say a lie that anybody can disprove?
You tell me what happened with that
hole in your esophagus. It's a very simple lie.
You told me how it
got there, bro. You made a very dumb lie on top of that, bro. Straight up. I'm not brown. My skin color is not brown. I can send you a picture right now holding a fucking white piece of white paper. Because of anything, I'm white.
If it's all those things, why are you butthurt about it? Like, what the fuck are you doing? What is this? You look like an idiot, dude. Hey, next time
try to want. You do your fake ass laugh anytime you want. But I'm sort of exposing you as a fucking snake.
Hey, bro.
Anybody who's a friend with this guy, don't trust him because he will leak your DMs. He's gonna go around leaking your DMs. He's gonna go around lying about you when he gets mad at you.
Sorry, dude. Next time, pick an easier target. Stick to Dora, right? And
what easier target? You stop talking to me because I caught you in a fucking lie. No, like you said, I pulled a card. I caught you in a lie, and you stopped talking to me.
I mean, look at you, bro. You're right here, butthurt. Look how you're acting. Right? So, like I'm saying, next time stick to someone on your level, bro, and you won't be this emotionally invested next time. Other than it being a joke.
I caught you in a lie. You couldn't disprove it, and then you stopped messaging me and you stopped talking. That's what happened.
Don't DM me, bro.
I'm out here now. Showing you and exposing you as anybody who fucking watches this shit. Anybody who's a friend with this fucking guy named Sobers, do not share anything private with them. You will leak your DMs at any point. This guy's a fucking liar and a fucking snake. Is that what you learned in prison? To be a snake?
I wish you would have told me this earlier, by the way, Vessel. But listen, you guys, because people don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Sobers and...
out of context.
Yeah, now I'm trying to move on. Now I want to talk about the show because I actually care about Kabayel.
How'd you get that hole in your esophagus? How'd you get that hole in your esophagus?
Sobers, hold on.
What happened to you, female? Did your dad fuck a hole in your throat too?
Hold on. By the way, Double L says, I'm going to leak the DMs where BDA dropped the hard R. You talk about the beaner with the hard R? Because that's the only hard R's I drop. Listen, this is something that happened in the Discord, and we'll try to get back to this if we have time, but I'll let you guys go for a little bit. It was entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's get back to the show. How about that?
All right, so Kabayel then. So people are saying an 8.
I think he's the only test for Usyk. I think he's the only guy that actually competes against Usyk.
Hey, bro, speak up.
I don't think anybody else can beat Usyk. Like Thomas too young, Wardley's too old and inexperienced. There's no one else to beat Usyk except Kabayel. He has the distance, he has the stamina, he has the bodywork to beat him. He's the only real test left for him.
Well, we're gonna get to Joseph Parker later, and I have something to say about. Whether he should get the next crack at Usyk or whether it should be Kabayel. What Gons, Sobers, or Nightmare? What do you guys see? You guys want to add anything to that?
Can you speak up next time? It was hard to make out what you're trying to say.
Sobers. Come on, man. We're trying to move on, man.
Other than that, I'd say he's an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
He's a solid 8.
Yeah, solid 8.
Solid 8. All right, like Philadelphia solid. As Angel Garcia would say. Yes, I'm not going to stop making that joke, by the way. I'm just going to keep on going. Sorry.
Hey, dude. I don't think he was too dominant in one specific category. And he came out of pretty much like nowhere until Turkey Ali Sheet put him in his undercard. And I think every time he was like the underdog. And he surprised us when he beat the... I don't know what specific ethnicity that Russian-looking dude that is kind of ugly and like big and kind of terrifying looking.
I think he's inbred. Yeah. Gonzalo, he's inbred.
Yeah,
that's a great description from Gonzalo.
Makhmudov is tough, but Makhmudov is tough, but he's been found out like again that he's just not that good, although powerful. Kabayel beat him, and like also I think Kabayel got hurt against. Another big ugly looking motherfucker. The Chinese dude.
Yeah, Zhang.
Yeah. So basically, Luke, I don't know. Like, he's a big guy, but is he really like naturally like a heavyweight? I don't know. He's got stamina, so I mean, he's crafty. So he got hurt. So can he take other heavyweights like powerful like other guys that can punch? Can he take the shots and keep beating everybody? I mean, he's done it so far. I think he's like he said that him and Usyk are friends, and Usyk's not that big either. So it would be a good fight from a styles perspective. Like, yeah, they're both good, crafty um, fighters. So why not make the fight happen? And I would give the other guy a shot to beat Usyk because he surprised us by beating all these guys that were favored over him.
That's right.
Until now.
So he's got the momentum on his side, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to the next guy here. Joseph Parker, 33 years old. Another dude like Joshua, who it seems like he's been around forever, but he's still relatively young. 33 years old. He's got a record of 36 wins, 3 losses, 24 knockouts. Stands at 6 feet 4 inches tall with a 76-inch reach. He's ranked number 2 by Ring Magazine in the heavyweight division. Top wins. He's got quite a dossier. He's got a win over Andy Ruiz, Derek Chisora. I believe it's 2 wins over Chisora. A win over Deontay Wilder and a win over Zhilei Zhang, which has earned him, all of this has earned him a next crack, according to one of the alphabet straps, against Oleksandr Usyk. His worst moment, when he got dismantled against Joe Joyce, still only the only stoppage loss, defeat of his career. And after that, it seemed like his career was done. But wouldn't you know it, he's since rebounded, and he's actually now ranked number 2, ahead of Anthony Joshua. You know, if you would have asked me, hey, you know, back in 2018 when Joshua beat Parker by decision, hey, you know, is Parker going to be ahead of Joshua one day in the rankings? I would have said, nah, I don't think so. And lo and behold, that's what we've got now. His attributes, speed, still very quick-handed. He's got endurance. Again, forget about the Joe Joyce fight, but everyone else, he's gone the distance. He went the distance against Joshua, went to war with Andy Ruiz, went to war with Dillian White, got dropped a couple of times, but stayed in there and actually hurt Dillian White in the last round. 12 rounds against Wilder. So this guy is experienced. That's the other attribute that he has. He's got a lot of experience. He knows how to go the distance. So he's going to be a hard fighter, an opponent to stop. His flaws, however, a little bit hesitant. A little bit hesitant. I mean, this dude, if you don't give him an opening, he'll just be content with standing in front of the ring or in the middle of the ring and just, you know, trade jabs or whatever. His fight against, what was his name? Junior Fa. One of the most horrible fights I've ever seen. Just a horrible lack of action. Also, relative to other heavyweights, he seems to lack power. He doesn't have the same one-punch knockout power as some of these other guys that we've seen, some of these behemoths. And partially, it's because he's a slapper. If you know that he's been trying to sit down on that right hand more, but for the most part, especially with the left hook, he's a slapper. So that ends up costing him punching power. So finally, his ace in the hole, I would say, is his speed. He's still very quick, much quicker than some of these other dudes. Perhaps even with the exception of Usyk, he might be the fastest-handed guy in the top 10 right now. Although that might change if Moses Aitauma ever makes it into the top 10. And the perfect fight, I think, would be Fabio Wardley. Because like I said, Fabio Wardley, he's got that shitty Philly shell. He won't necessarily go looking for Parker. And so I think it would be a good fight, a good win for Parker if he could get it against an undefeated guy. Fellas, what do you think? And what rating do we give Joseph Parker?
I would give Parker a solid 8.5.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're going to give him a higher rating than we gave Dubois and Joshua?
Correct. I think.
Now you got to break that down.
Technically, Parker is very well schooled. And really, the only two people I can really see rivaling Usyk right now would be either Kabayel or Parker.
Interesting. So Knight Murphy is really you really rate him highly. Okay. Anyone else? You do, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said I don't. I said, okay, are you messing with me now or what? All right. Who else wants to go?
Parker is Parker is one of those rare cases in boxing of someone looking really bad and actually learning how to improve late in the career too. It's strange because he has gotten way better than if you look at like his last 3 recent fights as opposed to his 6 or 7 fights down the road before that. He looks like wow. He's improved his jab, he's improved his footwork. Yeah, he doesn't have power, but his stamina has improved. The only thing that I have against him is that he always lets he's susceptible to letting a fight slip by him. Not do enough, and lose on points.
Yeah. To me, I'd give him a solid 8. He's been around for like a long time, or at least it seems like he's been around forever. The thing about that, if he was ever gonna do something in the sport, it was probably gonna be maybe a year or two, like before time now, because at some point you start trading youth, for experience, but then you gain the experience and you lose the youth, and in this case, his chin kind of slipped a little bit. So if he was ever gonna do anything in the sport, he probably would have done it by now. In regards to he did something. He's won a lot of good fights. He's a solid guy, but it comes to like the cross point where the other guys that are like younger than you are coming up, like the guy that BDA just mentioned, Moses Otama, the new generation. Yeah, you gained the experience, but you lost your youth. And when you stepped up, like Vessel was saying, you kind of let it go. What would make you think that he's gonna get it now when he's that much older?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting that you guys are rating him high. So a lot of you would have said that the fight against Dubois, that would have been a 50-50 fight. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah. I thought that was a 50-50 fight. I was picking Parker to win that.
Yeah, I think Dubois avoided that fight.
Maybe.
It's kind of like Pravovnikov. He was really, really good, but it just came a point where he got old, and it's like, okay, he was good, but what did it matter? He was a little bit undersized, and it's one of the things.
Well, it's interesting, man, because I might be underrating Joseph Parker then. I was going to give him a 7. But listen, all the experience, his recent run, we'll give him an 8. Although, again, he's the reason why I'd rather see Kabayel against Usyk is because if Parker fights Usyk, he's going to be giving Usyk what he wants. It's going to be a speed versus speed type of fight. And I don't think Parker is that much more skilled where he can outbox Usyk. Whereas Kabayel, at least he brings that fire, those body punches that nobody seems to be able to stand up to right now. That would be more exciting. And also Joseph Parker, he beat Bakole, but Bakole was coming off the couch. And Zhilei Zhang, I didn't really think he beat him. That was a very close fight, but he ended up getting the wins. Gotta give him credit for that. So if you guys want to give him an 8, I won't argue. And also because we gotta move on to the next fighter here. So we'll give him an 8. I'm just gonna save the screen cap for the archives. Hold on a second. Hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. Really helps us out. It takes 2 minutes. All right, so that's Joseph Parker. We're almost done here with this list of heavyweights, according to Ring Magazine. Let's go to Tyson Fury, 36 years old. He's no spring chicken. 24
he's
wins.
He's retired. Did they really put him in there?
He's still there. Listen, how many times that somebody else said that at the beginning of the show in the comment section? Oh, he's retired. This guy has said he's retired for 6-7 times now. He's now retired. Trust me, he's coming back. Until I see him in a photo of him in a pub weighing 330 pounds, shit-faced, I'm not going to count him out. And even then, I wouldn't count him out as retired. So he's 36 years old. He's got 24 wins, 1 loss, 20 knockouts. No, excuse me, 1 loss. No, that should be 2 losses.
2.
Yeah, I don't know why he left it. All right, forget. Typo. 2 losses. He stands at 6 feet 9 inches tall, although we've already debunked that in this show, that he's not really 6 feet 9 inches tall, but whatever. We'll go with what the paper says. 85-inch reach, and he's rated number 5 in the heavyweight division. Top wins, 2 wins over Chisora, a win over Vladimir Klitschko, 2 wins over Deontay Wilder. Some people would argue that should be 3 wins. And he's got a win over Dillian White. And if we go by Tyson Fury's view of the world, he feels he should also have 2 wins over Oleksandr Usyk. Now, we move on to his worst moment. He's got a couple. Uppercutting his face, his own face in the fight. There was a draw or a close decision against some French tomato can in the UK. But I would say it's hitting the deck and struggling versus a boxing novice in Francis Ngannou. That was an embarrassing moment, not only for Fury but for boxing as a whole. Because now, for a while there, we had to stand and listen to these MMA guys going, "You see, MMA guys are as good as boxers. They can do it all, and if they wanted to, they could be championship level boxers." Like, come on, Fury, you see what you started. So I still think that's the worst moment. In terms of attributes, he's got experience. He's been around the block for a while. He's fought almost everybody. His size is also, I think, a big advantage here, because even amongst behemoths, he dwarfs a lot of these dudes by being 6'9" and damn near 300 pounds. And also for a guy that big, he's quite elusive. I mean, he was making Usyk miss a lot in the first fight. It's just he just couldn't keep it up for 12 rounds and started relegating himself to just clinching and all that. In terms of flaws, well, a little bit like Anthony Joshua right now. A lack of motivation. He's got all the money in the world. And even when he already had a lot of money and he was younger, he still was unmotivated, getting drunk and doing a whole bunch of things between 2016 and 2018 or 2017, I believe it was. Stamina issues. If he just could have maintained that pace against Usyk in the first fight, you never know what could have happened. But then again, that's also credit to Usyk for tiring him out. And the third point is he might be a mental case. And I think some people would argue that it's not a could, but that he actually is a mental case. And, that could prevent him. Again, if he really believes he won against Usyk, those two fights, then he's no longer with us, the rest of us here in reality. And if you're not seeing reality or refuse to see it, how are you going to improve as a fighter? So that's a problem right there. And in terms of the ace in the hole for him, I think it's his versatility. The fact that he can box long range, and if he wants to, he can make it a dirty, dirty fight and use his considerable bulk to tire opponents out. So I think that's one of his big strengths right there, his biggest strength. The perfect fight for him, just like we said with Joshua, could essentially be, could essentially be the Joshua fight. Big money fight in the UK, and I think it's a winnable fight for Tyson Fury. Guys, what do you think about all of that, and what rating do we give old Tyson Fury?
Give him an 8.5. I think he's somewhat overrated based on the Deontay Wilder fights. Deontay Wilder was never that good. Look at the way he fought against his last guy. He showed himself to like who he truly is, like his true colors. Real sloppy. So how far more removed are you from the last performance that Deontay Wilder had in that club card from the one that fought Joshua? Well, maybe some. But still, you can't change a leopard spots. Deontay Wilder sucks. And he got dropped the first time. Okay, he got up. Yeah, he beat him. But still, I mean, he did lose the two Usyk fights. However close you might have those, Linares fought Lomachenko in a close fight. But when one guy still wins, it doesn't mean, okay, it was competitive. You had two shots to beat him, and you never did because, okay, you were trying to prove that you were the best heavyweight of this era. And I don't think he did that. Usyk's not a big puncher, but Usyk was able to overcome him and then still have more fights and still win. And look at the way he looked against that UFC fighter. So, what are his true most dominant wins? Credit for the Usyk. I take a little bit of what I said back, but who has he really beat? Dillian White?
Yeah, that's the argument that a lot of people have made, Gonzalo, which is who has he really beat? People say Klitschko. That was 10 years ago. It's going to be 10 years ago this November. Since then, like you said, Wilder and Dillian White. Those are his two best wins. Otto Wallin, if you want to be generous. Otto Wallin, if you want to be generous. But other than that.
Yeah. He got cut pretty bad, but it's not really like his fault for getting cut like that. With Vladimir Klitschko, I think Klitschko had been fighting for a long time. He was 41 or 42, had some family problems.
Come on, I don't want to hear it.
Supposedly he was doing some performance enhancing drugs.
Interesting.
Yeah, Tyson Fury.
Well, listen,
but yeah.
I still think if he kept it up, if he'd maintained his momentum and fought more often and stayed sharp that way and kept training, he could be I mean, a lot of people had him in the top 10 pound for pound list. Now, I never really agree with that. Just being, Wilder, I don't think that's enough. But he definitely had the. I mean, look at that. He gave Usyk hell in that first fight. But eventually things catch up with the guy. Alcohol consumption, blowing up in weight in between fights. As it stands right now, I still think he's very difficult for anybody to beat. Even Usyk, it wasn't easy for him. So I still think that Tyson Fury is a solid 8.
Well, I mean,
I would say 8.5. I agree with Gonzalo.
He gave
I would say an 8.
He gave Usyk hell because this was like the biggest, hugest. Okay, great. I'm not gonna call him great. I could, but we're talking about this right now. And this since was he really that good as we thought he was like a few years back as the best heavyweight of this era and potentially one of the greatest heavyweights of all time? Because people were saying the fight was competitive with Usyk because Usyk was coming up from cruiserweight. I mean, he had been at heavyweight for a few fights, but he was packing up the muscle, having to eat all day to maintain the size. Not really like a big puncher, fighting a huge guy that's 6'7" or 6'8". I don't know. So that disparity in size makes for a stylistic fight. And it was close because we know Usyk's not like a one-punch knock you out type of guy. So he had to like deal with the big guy like the whole 12 rounds, but still couldn't beat him. The smaller guy beat him.
Yeah, that might end up hurting his legacy. It's like, man, you couldn't beat the guy coming up, even though the guy coming up is an exceptional fighter. I don't know if people in the future are going to look at it that way. So that's Tyson Fury right there. And we're going to move on now to, we're almost done here. Don't forget to hit the like. We're going to move on to the champ. That's Oleksandr Usyk. I don't think there's much to say. The GOAT? Well, yeah, I don't think there's much to say about Usyk at this point. 38 years old. He's the second oldest guy in this top 10 list. 24-0 with 15 knockouts, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 78-inch reach. He is the Ring Magazine champion. He's the lineal, de facto, undisputed, whatever term you want to use, heavyweight champion. Top wins include Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua twice, Tyson Fury twice, and Daniel Dubois twice. This dude is the best fighter in the world. And that's why the conversation shifted from whether he's the best fighter in the world to, okay, but where does he rank all time in the heavyweight division? His worst moment, there's not that many. You have to scramble to find one, but I would say it's when he was eating jabs all night from Derek Chisora. That's the fight I still remember, 2020. I believe it was late October or early November. And people were saying, oh, you see, BDA, Usyk can't compete in the heavyweight division. He can't compete. And I remember thinking at the time, yeah, he didn't look all that great. But then as I started rewatching his fights from the WSB or WBS, whatever that was called, when he fought Joe Joyce and Junior Fa, among other heavyweights, this dude was piecing these tall heavyweights up. So I said, okay, maybe the thing that's going to give him the most trouble is actually a short, compact heavyweight. Kind of like Kabayel. Hey, you never know. But that ended up being, people just being alarmist when they saw that he didn't dominate Chisora the same way, let's say, David Haye did or Tyson Fury. In terms of attributes...
What? You didn't put the Breedius fight? Breedy? What is the name? Breedy?
No, but that, you know why I didn't do that? Because that's a cruiserweight.
Because there's a cruiser?
Yeah, I'm sticking at the heavyweight fights for the most part here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the Mary's Brady's fight, that was one that, that could have... I mean,
that was very close.
Very, very close fight. Very close fight. I thought Usyk edged it, but with different judges, you never know. In terms of attributes, defense, this dude has the foot speed and the footwork to stay out of range. He's got a good guard. He knows how to slip punches. Just very difficult to pin down, especially for these slower lummoxes. Speed, both foot and hand speed, quite substantial, even at 38 years old. And just like Tyson Fury, his versatility is what makes him a heck of a fighter. The guy can box from long range off the back foot, or if he wants to, like he did against Fury in the first fight, or like he did to a little bit to Dubois in the first fight, just walking the guy down with the guard up. So he can do almost everything in there. The other thing is, when it comes to flaws, well, the age, 38 years old, and he's not a regular heavyweight because these heavyweights rely on their power, which is the last thing to go. But with him, it's the speed. If the speed goes, That's a big advantage that he has over these dudes, and that could complicate things, which leads us to the lack of size. If the speed goes, he doesn't have really the size to outmuscle some of these guys. And also the lack of power. Again, it's not, after the Chisora fight, a lot of people said he didn't have any power. Since then, we've seen him hurt Tyson Fury. He's stunned Joshua a couple of times, stopped Dubois twice. So the power is there, but it's not comparable to like an Efe Ajagba's right hand or Fabio Wardley stepper right hand. And finally,
he doesn't have one-stop power, one punch power.
The one-punch hitter quitter, as they like to call it. He's acing the whole. I think it's his stamina. Even that stamina won him the fight, the first fight against Fury, because it looked like Fury was piecing him up in there. It looked like those body shots were going to take their toll on Usyk, but Usyk just kept plugging away. He's the one that ended up breaking Tyson Fury. So that's his ace in the hole against these heavyweights. The perfect fight, well, we already said it, Kabayel. So guys, I guess that the last thing to do here then for Usyk is, what rating do we give him?
10, right?
10. I would say 10.
You know what? There's no such thing as a perfect
just because he feels like it.
There's no such thing as a perfect fighter. The only personality, character, historical figure I would give a 10 to is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. No one is perfect, so
Amen.
Because of that, I have to go with a 9. But you guys are saying 10.
You forgot to mention that he has the good Lord on his side. He is a devout Orthodox Christian.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's an Orthodox Christian with none of that pomp and circumstance from the Catholic side. So that maybe that should earn him points as well. What are people saying in the chat? People are saying
Someone said 9.5.
10, 9.5,
Someone
8.5.
said 9.9.
9.9. No, but we can't go with that. It has to be whole numbers. I'm going to go. Listen, if anybody deserves as high a rating as possible, it's Oleksandr Usyk, and I'm going to give him, I will decree that I'm going to give him a 9. Here we go.
Okay, that's fair.
There you go. But we're not done yet. No, sorry, Bob. We got a long way to go. No, we don't have a long way to go, but we got one last person here. As I said in the beginning of this show, by the way, honorable mention goes to Richard Torres, Jalalov, and Moses Aitauma, who's going to be fighting this Saturday. But those dudes have not made it into the top 10 yet, but honorable mention goes to them because, wait, you never know. Maybe one day they will make it to the top 10. The wild card. We got to go with the wild card here, and that is Jay Opetaia. That's right.
That's an interesting pick.
Interesting.
Some people are going to say, come on, BDA, he's never fought at heavyweight yet, blah, blah, blah. But hold on, we're going to get to that. He's fought mostly, obviously, at cruiserweight. And, I'm looking at his dimensions, which we're going to get to. He's fought mostly in Australia, coming to us from
the Gold Coast Convention Centre.
But he's done quite well for himself there. Beaten some tough opponents in the cruiserweight division over there.
Ringside, Gold Coast Convention Centre.
And I got to tell you, Opetaia could make something happen. 30 years old, so he's right at his peak. 31 years old, maybe that's going to be the last year of his peak, but right now he's at the peak of his powers physically. 28-0 with 22 knockouts, 6 feet 2 inch height, 76-inch reach, unranked at heavyweight. That could all change next year. Top wins, as you can see, a bit of a thin resume over at cruiserweight. Maurice Brady's twice, Jack Massey, and David Nika. Interestingly enough, David Nika and I think it was Jordan Thompson. I think that was the guy's name.
David, what?
They were both. No, don't go there. But Nika and Thompson were 6 feet 6 inches tall. And Opetaia was reaching those guys with ease. Now, of course, they like the talent, the skill, and the dossier of even some of these guys like Ajagba, for example. But what I'm trying to get at is just like Usyk was getting to guys like Junior Fa and Joy Joyce back in the WSB, so is Opetaia. So with his speed and his length, he's good enough that he can compete with some of these really, really tall dudes. All we need to see is whether he can do that against heavyweight 6 feet 6 inches. As for the Jack Massey win, Jack Massey went the distance against Joseph Parker. Jay Opetaia backed Massey up, blooded him up, and forced a stoppage. So I bring those wins up because of that. His worst moment though, has to be gassing and suffering a fractured jaw versus Brady's in the first fight. Not a good look. Not a good look, I must say. His attributes, well, speed, hand speed, foot speed, reflexes. A lot of these guys in the cruiserweight division, which is mostly a barren division, cannot compete. They can't handle, they can't stand up to his power down there. You figure that at heavyweight, he's going to lack that power. But again, that hand speed, that foot speed, and those reflexes are there. The flaws, well, like I said, he lacks experience. Even when he went up against Maurice Brady's in the rematch, Brady's had been out for almost 2 years, I believe. And he was already near 40. And he still gave Opetaia a very tough fight, especially in the later rounds. He had Opetaia holding and running and bleeding from the nose. So, you got to wonder how durable is he? He's got stamina issues and also the lack of power at heavyweight. How is that going to pan out in a higher weight division? And real quick, finally here, he's acing the hole. Like I said, speed. Perfect fight to start off at heavyweight. If it's going to come against a top 10 guy, could be against Efe Ajagba, because Ajagba, yes, he's got heavy hands, but he's also, like we said earlier, he's got leaky defense. He's not the greatest technician. And he could be there for Opetaia to tee off on. Guys, what do you think about Opetaia's chances in the heavyweight division?
Well, I think you're a racist, because why you're not including the best Mexican fighter of all time, Zhilei in this?
Well, that's the thing, though. It's if they're talking about that fight. That's the fight that Opetaia wants. That's the fight that Zhilei has mentioned. If Opetaia beats Zurdo, that's it. There's nothing left to do in that dried up cruiserweight division. But
if Opetaia beats Zurdo, I'm playing in traffic, bro. Straight up, that's never gonna happen.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said if Opetaia beats Zurdo, I'm gonna go play in traffic.
Wait, you're saying Opetaia doesn't beat Zurdo? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Whoa! All right. Interesting. Anyone else want to go? What
No, if you want to throw him a rating, like you're saying, the honorable mention, throw him in there as a 6. Put him in there with Wardley. See how good he is. I think Wardley will knock his ass out.
Oh, well, a good starting fight against somebody not in the top 10 would have been somebody like the guy we're gonna see this Saturday, like a Dylan White, because White is slow as hell now, and he's chinny, so that would be a good fight for Opetaia, who could potentially maneuver around Dylan White for as long as that fight went. But anyone in the top 10, these guys are dangerous. Let me tell you.
I think Frank Sanchez would be a good fight for him.
Yeah, because maybe.
Yeah, because Frank doesn't have power. He's fast with throwing combos, but he's very slow in his footwork, and he's there for Ajagba to hit all night, or for Opetaia to hit all night.
Yeah, I hate to throw Hrgovic under the bus again, but he's kind of the weak link in the division, and
Hrgovic is very weak.
Come on, see, that's what did I tell you guys listening? That's what people in the Discord call the poor guy. Yeah, Hrgovic. I was going to say the same thing. Hrgovic could be a good opponent because he's not the biggest puncher. He's not the fastest guy. He's a solid boxer, but he sort of fights in an old man space. So that could be a good starting point for Opetaia, for sure. Anyone else want to say anything about this? No? All right.
Opetaia.
Yeah.
He looks like impressive, with the punching power and the speed. So he's, in my opinion, he's an explosive cruiserweight who has a chance at competing just like Usyk at heavyweight, with probably a little bit more power if he's able to pack on some size. He's probably not as big as Usyk. I mean, comparatively speaking to how they were at cruiserweight. Moving up, Usyk was able to be a small heavyweight. So I mean, that's the thing. He might have more punching power, but is he truly a heavyweight? No, he's not at all. He doesn't. He probably barely makes the cut. But the punching power, when it comes to the explosivity, might give him a chance to beat a lot of these guys. And you could say, okay, has a guy that's not been that big able to compete against heavyweights before? Yes, Holyfield did. But at the time, Holyfield was facing fighters in the generation where the heavyweights weren't as big as they are today. So I mean, it all depends.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, he's got similar dimensions to Usyk. That's why a lot of people made the comparison. But obviously, he lacks a lot of the skills that Usyk has. He lacks the stamina, the defense, the guard. I mean, it's just so. But at this point, he is faster than Usyk. More explosive. So I don't know. He should at least try. The worst thing that can happen is he loses. Okay, so what? But we'll never know unless he tries. So I'm not gonna give him a rating yet because this is a heavyweight ranking or a rating, and he has not fought a top heavyweight yet. So, or even at heavyweight, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. But that concludes this portion of the rankings episode. Hey, listen, I'm gonna go. I don't know if Vessel and Sobers want to go at it, but so I'm gonna go to the Open Lines Second Renaissance Discord. I'm gonna go to the Open Lines Second Renaissance Discord, link in the description. If you guys want to go at it there, I'm gonna record it. I know the Snake Sobers probably is gonna record it as well, but you need a second snake.
Yeah, la víbora.
You need a second snake, like.
La víbora.
Sober. If Sobers
like a little fish.
If Sobers is a snake, I'm the big snake. All right, nobody outweighs Mr. BDA.
I'm
I
from
get the big.
No, I don't know. Have you ever leaked
I'm
DMs?
from Philadelphia.
Have you
You get it? It's
DM from someone?
All right, let's
Have you
let's
ever leaked DMs from anyone?
let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Hold on. Let's do this
Say
in
it
the
with
Open
your
Lines.
chest, little
And
pig.
lie?
Let's
I don't
do
think
this.
you lie, right,
Hold
baby?
on,
You're a Christian.
fellas.
I can't hear
Open
you.
Lines. Open Lines Discord. Let's do this in the Open Lines Discords. All right.